Welcome everybody here, Brady from BGWX, and we are back here for another breakdown of what's the upcoming major winter storm. The reason my stream is delayed is because I'm currently sitting in a 30 dBz band and have been for really the better part of since about 9:30. For about almost 3 hours straight now, I've been sitting in a 25 to 35 dBz band that has just set up right on top of me. And my number one rule when it comes to weather, not because I enforce it, but because it's important to me, is be present in what you're doing. So I am currently enjoying this band. So if I pop off for a second, I'll let you know. I'm not gonna end the stream or something, but I'll say, hey, I'll be back in a second. I want to take some video um, because there is this. It's hard. Wind has been breaking up a little bit. Some of our snow total here over the past hour, I would say. But man, this band has just set up right on top of me. You could argue that the best of it has been you know, uh, you can argue the best of it is right now just to the north, but still doing pretty good. And so we're gonna get going here in a second. Let me share the stream here, and I'll pull up the comments in a second as well, or I'll pull up the chat. Moderators need you to enforce everyone being nice to each other. I'm currently at in snowfall total wise, I'm about 2 inches of snow right now. Let me get the chat here. I also have radar up as well, so I'm watching this band come in. So I'm enjoying it really well. Kevin, how we doing? Celtic Supreme, how we doing? Broncos fan, RHP, how we doing? Again, sorry about the delay, but actually, really not sorry. I'm sorry. I only sorry that it's delaying your bedtime a little bit for whoever's in here. But I don't apologize for being present and enjoying the weather. Um, Greensboro, North Carolina, welcome to Twin Experience. Um, but yeah, I'm currently getting. I got 2 inches of snow. I'm getting raked on in this. I did see the Northern Lights. I did. I actually. If you go to my X profile, you'll be able to see some of the pictures if you scroll down a little bit. Um, because man, I'm getting. I'm just getting raked on here now. Wind is breaking up some of the totals. I'm not gonna lie. Wind. I'm not sure why it is so windy. Again, I should have done a little bit more analysis. Um, Brandon, how we doing? I should have done a little bit more. That's the only thing I regret. Is you guys know here on stream, I'm in a different room tonight, so the acoustics might sound even better potentially for the microphone. So we'll see. It's just the Mac. So it's still the Mac, but I'm in a different room so that I can see the snow. Um, that was important to me. So then, if I need to take a second, and I'll say I'm coming right back, I'll let you know because I don't. I listen. I like being present. I hate missing out on the best. I always every single storm. I don't know about you guys. I like going out there and then seeing if I can get the heaviest point of the snow every storm, because then I can always go back in my photos and I can compare. And that storm did that. You know, this storm we got 15 inches, but we really didn't snow as heavy as this one where we got 4. So it's kind of cool to play with a little bit, to kind of for me. And I'm looking at radar, man. We're just gonna keep staying in this. We're keep staying in this as long as wind doesn't break up the snowflakes too badly here. Um, we are close to 3 inches and no plow truck is being serviced. The roads are awful. The roads are awful. If you saw my latest, my latest YouTube video, you'll know that the roads are terrible, terrible because nobody was preparing. I don't think anybody was even expecting snow tonight. Everybody was talking the forecast. I'm at least happy that we mentioned it, right? We've been mentioning it like every day on stream. Yeah, we've been mentioning it like every day on stream here. We just didn't. We obviously just though we went to the good stuff. We said this is what we do every time, right? We go right here, clipper system that kind of sets in tone. So expect some light accumulations with that. The problem is, when you hear that, you might just overlook it a little bit. And I know I did. I should have looked at the soundings for tonight. Were unbelievable. They were fantastic for heavy snow. And sure enough, just like that, we got some inch per hour rates. And so we'll break down what's going on with the storm here. I'm just enjoying it though. I'm really just enjoying the snow depth after Monday is gonna be probably the highest since 2021. Maybe no 2022. Probably the highest since 2022. It is gonna be man. Fantastic. So I appreciate everybody in here tonight. Let's again listen. I had to sacrifice here. If I started an hour ago, we would have had a lot more people in here. I know, but I have to always stick to what's most important to me. I can't let other people drive. What I'm doing in my life. I always have to be. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices, and for me, there's nothing more important and enjoyable than seeing the snow when it's happening. In terms of the weather aspect, it's weird. We haven't had any snow in Foxborough, right on the other side of the mix line. We mentioned that along the coast and maybe into just inland southeastern Mass, that your temperatures may be a bit marginal and a little bit harder to snow accumulate. Jordan O'Hara, how we doing? We'll lose some of it, Kevin. I'm still skeptical on how warm we actually get tomorrow. There's going to be a fresh snowpack on this as well. I'm skeptical we get to 40. I really am. I really am. At least here in my location, and maybe Connecticut's a little bit different, but. So for those of you just tuning in, don't be alarmed that we started late. It's only because I'm getting dumped on with snow right now. If you look at radar and you go to Massachusetts, you'll understand what I'm talking about. We're gonna get we're getting going now. We're gonna break this down. But if I step out for a second, I want to make sure. If I do, make sure the mods you mentioned in the whoever I have in the chat, make sure you mention that that I did step out for a second. If I say that, so that people in the chat or people walking in don't just go, "This is nothing. What's going on in this stream? Let me get out of here." So if I do, but. Let me take a sip and let's break this down here. I have not looked at any of the 0Z guidance. I just saw my mentions in my comments. That's it, really. Only in my comments. That's basically the only I've seen. So let's take a look here. We'll look at the GFS. I have not looked at any guidance yet. So what you're going to get first is you're going to get model analysis. I'm going to break down what all the models did at the 0Z, and then we can take that information and use it, because I think the 0Z, this is actually something that I'll value, because we had Hurricane Hunter data go into these models. We had Hurricane Hunter data that was sampled, I believe, out here in the Pacific, and it did get sampled. So I'm gonna be curious to see what these do look like. I mean, every model right now is a bomb. Is it Euro bomb, GFS bomb? But I can tell you right now, that's near the full phase, and that's something that GFS has not been showing. Look at that difference: 18Z, 0Z, huge difference, huge. Oh my God! Look at the death band that gets. Look at the death band that gets here. Look at that. Look at that death band. Again, I'm going to enjoy the model, guys. Just know this is not the forecasting aspect, though. And then look at it. It just pivots. Just pivots. Oh my God. Look at that. You still, GFS, still, look at that. Even in this scenario, Mid-Atlantic, crushed. Crushed you would get on this run. New England, New York City, Philly, Hudson Valley, Southern New Hampshire, Southern Vermont, Long Island, Boston, crushed. This is why I'm not concerned about mixing. This is why I'm not concerned about mixing. I'm not even sure the Canadian needs extra data. It's been, the Canadian lately has been, boy, oh boy, has been impressive. Bobby, how we doing? You getting any snow tonight, Bobby? But I mean, man, oh man, look at it, and then you just rot out. You see that? Rot out, rot. Cold snow too. Look at the temperatures you're going to be at. Let's look at the temperatures during the storm here. First of all, temps on the backside next Tuesday are going to be some of the coldest temperatures of the season. I don't know about this cold down south. That would be something, though. If you were to get to -10 in Georgia, -2 in Louisiana, holy. But take a look at the temperatures, guys. And GFS is not going to do a good job on this either. See that? Single digits, tens, maybe teens, maybe, across Pennsylvania, Hudson Valley, Connecticut. A little bit of a coastal front sets up then. So this is basically, I'm guessing, right on here, you're probably thumping. You're probably thumping at that point. You're still thumping here. You just got higher ratios on this side. Little coastal front action, really cool to see. And then, but remember, at this point, you would have already done damage. And then you can see the snow map here is going to look impressive. And to say it's impressive is an understatement. But you see what I mean here? Mid-Atlantic, you get crushed on this. You get crushed. Light coating. And then the ice concern to the south is real. And we're going to talk about that again tonight. That's a major concern, guys. It's a real major concern. It's really hard unless you're saying like 5 inches of ice or something. It's really hard to overhype the ice right now. That's going to happen. But this would be, and I'm not sure. There's another factor we need to discuss here with this storm as well. And it's that since you're going to be so cold, your dendritic growth zone, remember what we talk about? The dendritic growth zone? So it's that snow. Imagine I draw, let me take off. Well, how much snow is in the show? You can see it. That's fine. That'll be a little bit easier. So what this is going to do here, this is an important part. This is why I think the ceiling with this snowstorm, this is why it's important. The ceiling with the snowstorm is incredibly high. It's incredible. It's higher than I even think some of the Kuchera maps are even underestimating. These Kuchera snowfall maps, they only account for temperature in the column. This is why snowfall maps are almost useless when trying to predict the exact outcome. Almost useless. And even then, sometimes they struggle with exact QPF amounts as well. Global models especially, low resolution global models. The GFS will always struggle with snowfall totals, always will. Same with the Canadian, even the RGM a little bit too. RGM is really more good for precipitation type than anything else. And then general out in the storm. But imagine this is a vertical column. And yeah, we'll talk about the North Carolina ice. Don't worry, we'll talk about that. And so this is, imagine your vertical column in the atmosphere, and you live here. Imagine this is you looking up into the sky, okay? And so when you're very cold, let's say this is about, we'll say that's 850 millibars in the atmosphere. So those are towards the low levels. Now we start getting towards the mid levels here. Let's say 700, and let's go up a little bit. Let's say 500, and then let's go up a little bit more. Let's say 250. Okay, and then you go to, and you can keep going eventually to space. Eventually. Again, models, it's more complex than warmer, colder, north and south. I want to get that point across, like really clearly, that it's a little bit more than that, guys. It's a little bit more than just north and south and stuff like that. I want to get a little bit more nuanced than that thinking. I don't want to like make any of you feel bad about you making comments or anything like that. I don't want that at all. I want to encourage as many questions so I can bring up the points. It allows me to bring up the points, so I actually like it. So I can hammer home points. There's not really too many dumb questions that that can oftentimes get asked. So just know that if my tone switches a certain way, it's more so that I can, just hammer home a point that I'm making. So right here, you live here at the surface, and this is your column, the atmosphere. So you have a temperature line, and a dew point line, and in this storm, I was already looking at it in the long range. In fact, we were looking at it on Gerald's stream tonight. Amazing saturation in the upper levels. Amazing. Vetrus, how we doing? You have fantastic saturation in the upper levels. And you're cold. So what this means is you're -10. We look from -20 to -10 degrees Celsius in the atmosphere. If we were to look at a sounding, I'll just pull up a sounding to show you. I'll show you. It'll be a little bit easier than me trying to draw it out for you. And this is the 18Z Euro, but it will do the point just fine. I'm not sure where this is for. This is for Albany International Airport. Let's get somewhere a little bit more south. Let's go to Massachusetts, and let's go to Worcester. We're gonna go towards me. But you see, these soundings kind of suck sometimes on Weather Bell. I'm not gonna lie, but you can clearly see here. There's your -20 line is pretty far up in the atmosphere, actually. Is pretty far up in the atmosphere. In this run, it brings it all the way. Oh, this is the 0Z? Yeah, whatever. So I must have creeped up a little bit there. But let's use this. There's your -20. And then look at your -10. You never get there. Your dendritic growth zone is now this entire space. This is where your snowflakes are made. This is so much time for lift to potentially build up on the snowflakes here with fantastic saturation, all the way up into the upper levels. You're going to get fantastic snow ratios. 15, 20 to 1, easy. Easy. Whatever you see on the QPF right now, you can almost double it for your location. Those 10 to 1s, nearly double it. I'm telling you. It's going to be, the ratios are going to be so cool. Thank you so much, Christopher. I appreciate it. Trying not to get too excited being here in New Bedford, but we might get hit hard. I think New Bedford's in a pretty good spot. Could end up being in a pretty good spot. So let's bring it back now to the operationals again. Let's look at the GFS AI. I think sometimes it struggles still. I don't think it's as good. I mean, Boston's similar situation for the first part of the storm, and then second part along the coast, ratios may not be as high. Let's see, compare here. There's GFS AI. Look at that, getting closer to it. Look at the height lines rise too, more importantly. This is something else I've noticed, guys. This storm here. You see what's happening? with this guy here, this little guy here, height lines are higher. The confluence is rising. This is a confluence. This is not just a high pressure stuck. It's a moving high. It's a moving high. Yeah, I got you, Celtic Supreme. Listen, I've already been looking at Boston. Trust me, I've been looking at the temps on Boston. You'll go first part of the storm. You'll be similar. You'll be probably teens, maybe into even to the low tens, and then and then you'll and then on the second part of the storm, you'll probably get into the 20s, if I had to guess, for the coastal redevelopment, whatever comes of that. And so, the more this lives out, this is what I've been saying. You guys have been hearing me for about 3 days now with this system, 3 nights in a row now. This is where I've been leaning. Mid-Atlantic to southern New England for the heaviest snowfall. This is where we've been leaning. And it all has to do with these pieces here. This is not just a stuck high. I saw some stuff today that said, like, if you were forecasting this not to be in the South, like congratulations to you. Like it was like salty almost, and I was like, well, like, what do you like? There was clear there was I'm like, for you to be so dismissive of the fact that this couldn't move northeast because you were obsessed with just a surface high. Like, come on, like you got to be a little bit more nuanced and like have a little bit more respect for other forecasters than that. Like come on, like that's you should not be like going off on other just because you messed up the forecast. That doesn't mean that you should be taking it out on other people. That's just my opinion. Okay, like I get it. Like models were showing us like southern snow, like 7 days out. That doesn't mean a whole lot. A 7 day model output. If you were buying into that completely and exactly, and not looking at 500, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Let's see here. Just jumped on. I'm from St. Louis, 50 miles west. How much dry air will eat up the precipitation? Is there a formula for that? Again, you can go. The best way, Michael Fisher, is I'm not a St. Louis. I'm not going to pretend to be a St. Louis weather expert. I'm not at all, but I will say is go to your if you're using tropical tidbits, you can go on to most models and you can click on it. You can click on it or touch it on the screen if you're on a phone or iPad or tablet, and it will show you a sounding. And you want to be saturated look for the minus 20 degrees line Celsius to the minus 10 degrees line. And if you're saturated from minus 20 degrees down to the surface of the atmosphere, if that green line is close to the red line, then that's a good shot. I'll show you. It will look a little bit different on, tidbits or pivotal, but you can go look and you see this. If these go to minus 20 and then you go to minus 10, if you're saturated through here and down to the surface, I'm not sure why this soundings always show up weird. I don't know why Weatherbell does this. Their soundings are awful, in my opinion. The Weatherbell ones, they're truly awful. But if you're saturated all the way down to here, you will that's what you're looking for. If the Euro is correct. It's too bad it's going to be wrong. Every model is wrong. I like to hammer home this point. Every model is wrong. The question is how wrong. We have to see through the BS here. Okay. Super fluffy. Just woke up 3 inches in Berlin, Connecticut. Not surprised. Not surprised. We're probably getting close to that now. But we've had wind break up for some reason. We've had wind break up. It's been I'm telling you, we've been gusting probably 15, 20 miles an hour. And it's impacted the snowflakes. Yeah, you're very welcome, Michael Fisher. Again, if you're not sure, I am from Massachusetts. If you're just joining here, I'm from Massachusetts, but we do a lot of the eastern U.S. in particular. But we specialize the 95 corridor here. and then we've expanded. We've expanded down, and we've done plenty of forecasting. And I feel like I can give you a decent answer, potentially better than even a good amount of nationals. Just because not because they're bad forecasters, but just because I'm going to take some time to get in depth a little bit. Um, and it's very hard for sometimes for them to put that together forecasts for the regional people, and so it's really hard to find an elite local TV meteorologist for you as well. One that's known the area for a long time and knows the ins and outs. Knows the patterns, what lines up for you. So there's a part in that. There's certainly a part in that, but I can kind of put the pieces together backwards based on kind of my knowledge. So. Eastern Kentucky, oh boy, I think that's a really tough forecast. I think you might get the whole mixed bag there in Kentucky. You might get snow, you might get ice, you might get it's sleet. You might get it. You might get it all. But here you can see the GFSAI. Look what it does. Shows that front end batch, and then look, rots out. And this rot out, by the way, will not be limited to central New England. It will not be limited to southern. This will expand out. And what you're going to do here, I'm getting more and more confident that we're going to get at least a heavy partial phase potentially, or a partial. What does that mean? That means you're going to rot out snow bands, man, on the backside here. Rot out snow bands. And on the other side of that coastal front, you're going to be cold. You're going to be cold, man. It's not going to be the heaviest snow of the storm, maybe, but they're going to rot out bands. Let's see. I'm guessing the Euro is still probably the most north. If I had to guess, the Euro loves putting the phases together in this range. Maybe a little too much. How high do you think the ratios could be in central Maine? Oh my God, the ratio. If you're saturated, the ratios are going to be absurd. At least 20-1. At least. Let's see the Euro. Let's see. Let's compare. I mean, it doesn't even eject the Baja faster here. You see that? It's not ejecting it faster necessarily. Let me double check. Yeah, I mean, it's about the same. It's even tucked a little bit more. And you can see this piece here, though, a little bit farther back. A little bit farther back, but not that different. But yeah, it comes in sooner. You see that? This piece is now coming in sooner. So that brings it together more. You get a little bit cleaner phase on the Euro in this run. And then you boom, look at the upper level low you get to go in there. And that's the second part of the storm. What do I think actually happens? I mean, I've discussed it. We're gonna keep going. I said we're gonna break down all of the latest 0Z guidance. I have not looked at any of this. I told you I've been enjoying my own, almost not necessarily snowstorm, but I've been enjoying my own snow here. I think about 5 miles to my northwest got even more crushed than I did. And there's probably going to be some delays tomorrow. There was not a lot of expectation, just due to all the talk for the upcoming storm. But and so the Euro is gonna dump here. Euro's gonna dump. Part one. Let's see the band. Oh yeah, it gets the band. Look at that. Let me tell you right now. If this band comes together here, and it makes it all the way up into southern New England, this is your highest ceiling into here. This is where the highest ceiling would be. Long Island, New York City, New England. This would be your highest ceiling. Maybe in some spots into Pennsylvania, maybe those higher elevations in the Poconos. 852, the band. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that 850 band. just rots out. And look at that, keeps forming over top, right over top. You see that? Boom, watch it. Watch the banding. It's going to keep staying. See it? It still holds and it rots out. And look at that. Mid-Atlantic, you get crushed. You get crushed. Still get crushed. I'm not sure the low gets that far north. It's possible. It's possible. And then you'll just get bands to rot out there. There's the 10-1. And then there's the Kachera. I'm not sure that's high enough. If you're getting an inch of QPF, I'm not sure the ratios are high enough. But you can clearly see this is your farthest, right? This is about your farthest north solution, and it's consistently been. All the way to here, you would still get about 6 to 12 plus inches. All the way north of here, all the way north of here, sorry, it's over the pink, but I can change it. You would get 10 to 20. You'd get 10 to 20 inches all across here. You would get 10 to 20 inches of snow. And this is including like a ½ inch to an inch from tonight. So it's not that much. It's including. I'll show you. See it? It's including like a ½ inch to an inch from tonight and some up here. So, but you can start piecing it together here. And then we almost honestly, we want to time this just right with the, because if you want to maximize the ceiling, it's a little bit of it's initially you're looking at it and it's from a Miller A to a Miller B. That's kind of switches here, because initially it's this real dominant Baja low, and then you get the northern branch and you get these two to phase here. But the phase gets so delayed because you have so much overrunning precip out ahead that it's really hard for consolidation to happen at that point with such a pressing confluence. All right, so this is why we're not dealing with a cutter here. And so with this here, and then boom, you almost want that to happen a little further south. You almost want this to delay just a little bit more, in my opinion. It would be a little bit less strong, but if you want to maximize the ceiling from Eastern PA, New York City, Southern New England, Long Island, those places, I think you almost want, or actually, you can do this fine. You just need one of these guys here to press a little bit more on this. Because if you press a little bit more on this, that will force a little bit further south this to happen. That's the goal here. Because you see where the upper level low, when the second part of the system forms, it's right here. This is it. So that's where the precip is going to want to go. Just follow the upper level low. No, not the dictionary again. Screw off. Get out of here, dictionary. Not again. It's just 2 nights in a row. The dictionary has made a presence on stream. But the upper level low, you see it getting going there, and it's really, to me, I'm looking at this in, it's really especially right here is where I'd be looking. But you'd still get bands to troll through. You'd still get right on top of that upper level energy moving through. You'd still get bands. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This will be close. There'll be coastal enhancement, but and more so on the backside. I guess it could be. I'm not sure on the front end, but that's something we'd have to look at until we get closer. But look when this part is. This is 100. This is over 100 hours out. This is a very specific solution. This is a anytime you're dealing with any kind of phase, 100 hours out, you should not really be putting too much stock into every operational. Right now, oh my God, the dictionary, Jesus. Right now, I would say that this is a. I would lean towards. I'm starting to get a little bit closer to at least a heavy partial phase. This is closer. What am I doing? Do I need? I've never needed to know. I need to. I can't hit the middle even now. If I hit the middle, I'm just gonna go to my left hand. Switch hands here. Um, but this is close to a full phase. It really is. It's just a delayed full phase is all it is. One thing I'll say here though is if this piece, how this piece comes in is another crucial factor to what happens here, and we won't know that until it happens. But look at that bundle of energy. That's the next storm signal, I think. Something in there. Whatever were to come in that. You see what the Euro does again? The Euro draws up another massive snowstorm in that time frame. This is the Japan teleconnection we're talking about. 7 to 12, about 7 to 12 days from now, you'll have a shot for another snowstorm, I think. Yeah. Look at that. You see that? That's just an operational run way out, but it just goes to show. So if you want to have some fun here, I'll show you the snow map. This is not an accurate depiction, but if you want to have some fun, might as well show it. See that? Boom. That'd be fun. But yeah, other than just a snowstorm signal in that time frame, we got a lot to discuss before then. Can't skip steps too. This winter might actually live up to the hype. I don't know too many that were saying this was going to be an insane winter. I really don't. I'm just saying for a couple weeks that this is going to be the best pattern in years, but that was really it. In my opinion, I was thinking anywhere from a slightly below average to slightly above average winter. That's where I was leaning. I just didn't think we were going to go terrible. There's too many signs that were pointing towards to suggest, not that it couldn't be, but it's all conversion rate. You have to remember, it's all conversion rate. Conversion rate can be so tricky sometimes. You have to remember, it can be very, very tricky. Let's look at the Euro AI. Poor dictionary wants some attention. That vort behind this point looks pretty nasty too. The hook. It's nothing that I mean, that's just a very wound up piece of upper level energy, but it's just measuring the spin in the atmosphere. But yeah, there will be another chance. There'll be another chance. Now that compared to, I think that could play a little bit more. Because you see how it's held back a little bit more? And then, boy, that bomb. That thing bombs. Look at that. And it goes almost into the flow. You see the difference on the Euro AI? This guy taps into the storm a little bit more here. And I'm looking at then this guy coming around here, and I'm like, boy, oh boy. Could that be another one? Or no, not necessarily that piece, but I'm looking at what comes off. You know, you see, I'm looking at this guy rolling around here. I'm just, the reason I'm drawn to this is because you have so much upper level energy that's going to pin around. That's what's going to happen. I'm sorry to skip steps here a little bit, but I'm getting, in a little bit, you can see the Euro AI has some interesting fun too in the long range. And only dumps a massive blizzard. That would be an insane look, but just some fun long range there. But my point is, you get all that. Let's take a look here. What actually changed here? This piece is farther back. Actually, Euro AI swings the Baja a little bit further out in front, brings this a little bit further back. Let's look at the confluence out ahead. There's two parts of confluence. Same thing as other guidance. Spreading these two apart more. These two are spread out apart more. How much is the probability for a foot in Trent, New Jersey? It's increasing. It's increasing a lot, I would say. But in regards to here is these two farther are extending out farther from each other, and what that allows is allows this guy to head further back, and allows this guy to push further north. There's less connection. Height lines rise even more, and this is what allows the overrunning precip to get further north. It's what increases the ice potential across these areas here. Notable ice potential into those areas, I think. Not that it couldn't go a little bit further north. It's just these places to the north here more are going to probably have get a lot of snow, and that will be more of a takeaway than the ice potentially. But that's kind of what's happening. This storm has to happen. I tried explaining that to some people, and I've still got a lot of talk about a surface high. A surface high that's moving is not the same as a surface high that locked in. These are confluence pieces that are moving. These are upper level energy pieces moving. That's the difference. That's the difference here. Surface high suppresses back here, not out here. Especially if you phase these two. And for me, I've been favoring, you guys know, a partial phase to a heavy partial phase, not a full phase necessarily, but this is pretty much almost a full phase as well. I'm skeptical of it. I'm skeptical. It's very hard to do this with such big upper level energy pieces at play. It's possible. This isn't nearly. It's not a full phase. It's almost a full phase. It's very close. It eventually does. It's past our time frame though. See that right there? That's when everything really comes together. And for Maine, that would dump. So that's why Maine has some pretty good potential on the backside here as well. Let's look at the surface map. Everything, man, look at the precip shield there. Boy, well, it's more put together on the backside as well. So this is also a part. You're not just going to have all this front end stuff and then boom, there's nothing left back here. A system that is more put together, the upper level energy, will have a precip shield that holds together on the backside more. And so all of this then needs to come through. All of it does. All of this has to come through still. See that? All of it. And then look, you rot. You just rot. And that's what I'm saying. If I'm putting together the pieces, I'm not sure how. You would need a lot to happen. Not that you can't increase the ceiling even more. That would still increase the ceiling, what you do on the backside. But I'm trying to see just either one frame earlier. If we can get this to phase a couple frames earlier to the upper level low, I should say, to come together, then that could really help increase chances for an even higher ceiling in southern New England. But I already think into New York City as well, places like that. But I already think I'm telling you, I'm leaning 10 to 20 right now for regions, not region. Oh, the dictionary. I don't know why this is happening so much. Maybe it's my aggressive clicking, being so excited for here. I'm thinking so close here. You almost want this phase to happen a little later. Or if this guy here presses on it a little bit more, that's certainly another. I'm currently dumping right now. I thought about going outside for a second, but it's fine. I can see it. That's one. That maybe be one thing is you can press a little bit more initially and still allow the upper level energy to hold. Then maybe you could really bomb out on the backside. The over increase is so strong that it doesn't even need to fully phase for significant. Oh no, I definitely didn't say that. I'm just saying oh, I think it's because of the holds. What I'm doing. Um, I'm just saying that I'm telling you there's a ceiling with this that I need to make sure that I need to be confident on whether or not we can and can't do it because I already know I'm not worried about the front end. This is a 10, in my opinion, this is a 10 to 20 event right here. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. You go from potentially DC, you go up to see, we'll need to refine. We'll refine these areas, but I'm still going to stick with it. I'm still going to stick with the idea that from DC to here, I'm leaning 10 to 20. Widespread across regions. So I mean that'd be extending from back from really into the Rust Belt across all of Pennsylvania because the upper level energy here is going to push through. It's going to push all of this precipitation back. While meanwhile, the heavy stuff is still happening, or the transfer occurs. So, I'm watching the snow happen for a second. No, this is not a cutter. A true cutter, in my opinion. I mean, you could always make the case a storm is cutting through somewhere. So this is not. A cutter's got to go all the way through. This has to go all the way through. This is not a cutter. You can't. You can't. You have the high pressure. So this is why I'm actually pretty intrigued on the backside potential. And I'm only focusing on it so much because it's the difference between you seeing a major blockbuster and a truly historic snowstorm. That's the difference. It's not directly correlated, Ashan. It's not directly correlated. So you still see you have that dome of high pressure. So you see now the high pressure is done moving. The high can move from here to here, but you have this storm here. The high pressure cannot move anymore now. The high is stuck here. So you can only go so far north now at this point once you get to the northeast. That's the difference. Could it erode and weaken some a little bit? Sure, but it doesn't get pushed out of the way. You see the high pressure, the high pressure boom. The only thing that moves this high is the storm from the backside coming through. And now you have high pressure loaded set in place now for a next storm system to come through. So whatever's going to try to form after this is going to have a tough time. Going to have a tough time pressing north as well. So if we do get something really amplified, it's probably going to have to slow down, which means there's more notable storm potential. Hi NC player, how you doing, my man? Hi meteorologist kid. Again, I'm sorry if I don't read all of your chats. Please don't take offense to it. Please don't. I really hope you don't take offense to it. I'm trying my best here. And I'm also distracted by the fact that I'm sitting in this beautiful band right now, and the most massive flakes are falling currently. But they're not as consistent as earlier either. Telling you, they're getting broken up a little bit, I think. But there are some fatties dropping out of the sky right now. It's gorgeous. I was just under 2 inches at 11:15 or 12 something. No, not 11:15, like 12 something. I forget. And we continue to sit in that band. I'm guessing we're probably at like 2.5 now. If I had to guess, like clear the board. I mean, that's how long we've been snowing. We've been snowing since the early evening. Well, Central Jersey is mixing now. Well, Central Jersey, I'm telling you, we need to shift the narrative. If you see mixing on the model run, just look at how much snow you see first. Ooh, educated redneck. I'll answer your question after, Justin. So have the ice amounts went up or down in North Carolina, 10 miles south of Raleigh? I'd argue up. I'd argue up. I think the snow odds have decreased significantly. Not that I thought that was the greatest spot to be in for snow, but to at least see any snow, I do not think that was. I think that the ice concern is real, because this is. I'm not sure how much farther, in my opinion. I think you're limited. And model guidance is really good for using different scenarios. So we're going to use this as one of your farther north scenarios potentially. I think you're a little limited in how much farther north you can go with this. But let me and I'll show you. The Raleigh metro area is in a really rough spot for the ice potential here. I'll show you. Okay. So you see the warm tongue? You see the warm tongue in Raleigh, or Raleigh, as our man Ocho likes to call it? It's 5 to 10 degrees at 850. I wonder what it is. Is it higher? 700? No. 925? Nope, it's 850. The perfect spot for freezing rain. Not perfect if you want it. And not perfect if you don't want it, which we don't. Let me go to surface temps. Here's your freezing line, and then look at the surface temps. So those are your surface temps. Look how well they hold. I'm using the Celsius because this is your 0 degree. This is 32 degrees. So if you're -1 or greater, that's ice. That's ice. 100% ice. Up more, once you get into North and Central Carolina, you're -3 to -6 degrees Celsius. That means you're in the 20s. Is a plow finally rolling through here? Finally. First plow of the night. 7 hours into the system. Telling you, roads are going to be rough in some places in the morning. You see that? You're in the 20s. Look at the precipitation map. Look what's happening. Rain, and maybe you get lucky. Maybe at the end of the system. Let's see here. Let's see how long you hold on to that. Let's go to surface. Let's go to precipitation. And also something to know is we have a CAD signature, so we have high pressure here to the north. And so cold air damming will force models to underestimate the surface temperatures. So you'll be even colder likely than forecast at the surface, which will only enhance the ice potential. It's such a strong high pressure too. Right? It's a moving high. but it's a strong high pressure, very strong high pressure, because it's ridiculous cold Arctic air, and it will funnel down to the low levels. Um, Surface temperature, and at that point, oh man, you still may hold on to it with a CAD signature. Look at that. Look at the CAD signature here. Holds it all the way through. Does not even get it. Doesn't even allow it. Limits it. So maybe you get a warm sector for severe weather. It's possible, or at least thunderstorms to the south. But look at that. The CAD holds, and that may even be low. Look at northern North Carolina. You're still in the mid to upper 20s. If you're 30 degrees still at this point, even 32, you're not taking away the ice. Look at that. Brutal ice storm potential here in North Carolina. Absolutely brutal. So I don't think the ice threat is decreased. If anything, it's increased. Well, thank you, NC player. I appreciate it. I feel smart now, Christopher Silva. That's the goal. I hope everybody feels a little bit. My goal here with this channel, what I'm doing, why do I stream? I have no reason to really stream. I really don't. I don't make a ton of money, at least not right now. I don't. I make very little off of this. I get nothing per video right now, by the way. I get nothing. The only time I make any money is when somebody super chats or becomes a channel member. And I don't force you guys. No, I don't try to force you guys to do that. But if you do, I show incredible appreciation. I'll answer your question, Justin, in a second. But my goal here is to create a untoxic space for people to come in, relax, and for people that really want to know the ins and the depths behind the weather. It's people that really want to know the science. They want no BS forecasting. They want to know inside how. I'm not a degreed meteorologist, but I am. I have, in terms of winter weather forecasting, you can put me up against a lot of people, and not to compare or anything, but I'm very confident in my ability to forecast. I'm not an amazing expert. I'm not anything incredible. I don't have any more special powers than anybody else. I just do my best to try to help, people out as much as I can. So I really just want to let people know what the end result of the forecast is going to be. The end result is what I'm obsessed with, and everybody obsesses over these model runs so far out. And I want to give you guys the inside, the inside, what the meteorologists are looking at, all the different maps, all the upper levels, everything, and how that connects. And my goal is to simplify it for you. My goal is to try to simplify it as best as I can. People can go and show you all those pretty maps all you want. You can look at all the pretty maps 5-6 days out. How often do those end up verifying? And I'll tell you right now, it's never. They're always going to be wrong. The question is how wrong. And my goal is to show you the models, tell you why they show what they show, and then actually bring it back to what I think, based on what I'm currently looking at, with models being a tool in the bag to show you what I think the forecast is. And we have an epidemic in meteorology right now. I tweeted out earlier tonight and did not expect it to go viral, but we have an epidemic in meteorology right now. An epidemic. And it's incredibly bright meteorologists and weather people, that are relying on models to do their forecast. We have an epidemic of it, and it's so frustrating. We have so many. Especially if you go to graduate school after, you did like 8+ years of meteorology, and now you're gonna let a model dictate your entire forecast? That makes no sense. You have so much more knowledge. You have so much more knowledge in that. So this is what I'm trying to get at here: is you cannot rely on these. You have to use them as a tool. Use them as a tool. Well, that's my point with all of this. That's my job here. All right, let me look at chat. Whoa! Oh crap! Sorry, I didn't even see it. Educated Regnick, thank you for becoming a member, and thank you for gifting. Thank you for gifting some memberships as well to people. That was extremely nice of you. Um, thank you. Thank you so much for doing that. I think there's an option that you can accept membership. Like you can, when you go in, you can choose, um, if you want to accept a free membership before anybody ever does it. So, educated redneck, it's not necessary at all, but I thank you so much, for doing that. Models are just tools, but people rip and read for some reason. They're just a tool. They're a tool in the toolkit. And no, I'm not direct weather, John. Steven, I know it's still a little bit far out, but does 18 or more inches snow have any likelihood on the South Shore of Boston area, or is that too much realistically? It may not be. That is within the realistic range of possibilities, in my opinion. Right now, we'll refine it, but I'm going across the region. We'll refine it within the region. But I think we could be looking at a lot of these areas into here, getting 10 to 20 plus inches of snow. That's what I think we could be looking at here. Educated redneck. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my man. Isn't a question? Sorry for asking dumb questions. Can you show a suggested ice here according to the new runs? You are also a. I try not to. It's not that I don't cuss in my personal life. It's just I try to, for the YouTube purposes and to make everybody feel as. I can do it without cussing, so I don't feel the need to. I don't have anything against cussing personally at all. Just to be clear, and any with all my friends and stuff, I don't. It's family. Like it's very. I'm an open mouth. I'm a true masshole at heart. But just to make that clear, you're a kick A bro, and I appreciate that so much. Educated redneck. Yeah, I can show you. We'll look at let's show the furthest north model, right? Because we know that that's not going to be a concern. Are the plows rolling through again? This would be the third time they rolled through here in the last 10 minutes here. That's a lot of snow they had to plow through, let me tell you. They're just killing that road with sparks. Yes, we know NC player. We know. I'll do my best. Keep throwing your questions. I'll do my best to answer. And I also think we can make a threat map tonight as well. I think we can do that. We'll make a threat map in a little bit here. Let me go to surface winter. Don't care about this. Does not impact snow. I know people are trying to. Don't. It doesn't matter. Oh, is it? I don't know. I didn't even look at the Canadian. I mean, it's about this. With the ice, it's not. You can see that it's. If we're just looking, I think this tells me a lot. The Canadian, this tells me. Oh, Sylvia or Sylvia, I think. Thank you so much. Yeah, we can look at Bloody. We can look at we'll get to the ensembles as well. This seems more realistic. This right here. These totals seem a little bit more realistic than the Euro. I think there's legitimate potential. I'd be surprised if we were looking at North Carolina. I'd be surprised if we were looking at less than a quarter to a half inch of ice across a lot of these places here. Out throughout here, even up into here. But some of these places will get more snow once you start getting the further north. But I really think it's a realistic potential here, all these places. But this is the greatest concern because The cold air damming from the Rockies, from the elevation here, something I'm learning about personally as well. That plays a factor, just like the cold air. We look at the Appalachians. That plays a factor as well. In the orientation of the high pressure from the backside, and it peaking its strength here will only press the surface cold down more. And so these places here are going to get rocked with ice. A serious concern. Well, you peep what the warm sector is going to be then. There's your warm sector for thunderstorms potential. Thunderstorm potential in here. Maybe severe, I couldn't tell you, but likely, because there could be some severe weather potential. But, right, and then we could be looking at a ½ inch to an inch of ice then, potentially, throughout a lot of these places into here. Back into Tennessee, especially back into here. Might be more than that. 1 to 2 inches of ice is not out of the equation for places back across Texas, Louisiana, maybe even into Tennessee, Northwest Alabama. Those are some places that we'll be looking at for ice. Thank you. Yeah, no, you're welcome, Christopher. It doesn't always need to be this massive. Listen, I love the weather, and I hype up the weather, but not. I don't hype up the forecast as much, to be honest. I try to be as real as possible with what's going to happen. And sometimes maybe my tone comes across more or less. It's hard for me to tell sometimes, but I can promise you my intentions are just to love the snow, appreciate whatever Mother Nature gives you, enjoy the storms that happen, and try to prepare though for people for when the devastation is going to come. Whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, massive ice, etc. Your brother NC player resides in Raleigh. How much ice are we gonna get? I ain't talking about having. I'm not sure what the last part means. Well, there's some hype that's warranted, to be clear, Christopher. So, like, sometimes the only reason that I think hype can be warranted at times is because there are some people that, regardless, will think, and it works the other way too. There's some people that get hyped sometime from something, and then the next time they're going to be like, okay, I'm not going to take this seriously. So it goes both ways. But then you don't take it seriously the next time, and then sure enough, you worked yourself into a situation. But I mean, we're just talking about Raleigh. We're just talking about the Raleigh area. I'd be surprised if you get anything less than a quarter to ½ inch of ice in Raleigh at this point. I'd be very surprised. And then I think the potential. I think the potential for at least a ½ inch to an inch of ice is absolutely there across a lot of North Carolina, not just Raleigh. What do the wind speeds get? I don't know. Well, we can look at wind speeds. We got so much more to talk about than specific wind speeds. I don't think you could. Maybe on the backside they'll be stronger. You could throw around the B word maybe on the backside, but front side no. Hudson Valley's in a fantastic spot for this storm. Fantastic. I think Hudson Valley is in a great spot. I'm leaning towards. I'm telling you, this whole area here. I mean, you could extend this back. Maybe not that. We'll see. Cut that off a little bit, just to be safe. Just to be safe. I still think these areas are going to make out pretty well with front and thump, but and this could extend further north. I'm just being conservative at the moment. I'm leaning towards 10 to 20 inches across the 95 corridor in north and south. I'm leaning towards about 10 to 20 inches of snow. That's where I'm leaning right now across these regions. Oh, New Jersey, I forgot to mention from a man, Justin, that was asking. New Jersey, I'm telling you, I'm not worried about Jersey. I'm not worried about Jersey. You guys are, you gotta understand, we're changing the narrative with this. If you mix, that does not mean you do not get hammered with 10 to, like literally at least 10 to 18 inches of snow. If you mix, you still might get a legit 10 to 18 inches of snow across these areas. So I'll show you the upper levels here on this. I'll show you the upper levels. Oh, there comes the plow again. We got 4 work throughs. There we go. That will help for the roads at least. Again, I'm in Massachusetts and we're getting thumped on. I'm probably going to finish with close to 3 inches of snow, 2.5, 3 inches at least. But Canadian just tries to form the upper level low. If we can just hold this back a little bit more, if that surface high can work, to prevent, man, because I'm not worried about it getting far enough north now. I'm really not. Initially, a couple days ago maybe, but not as much now, especially now that we have the model support. But I'll show you. I'm not concerned. This is not really mixing. I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about it probably getting that far. And then look, you rot out on the backside. This is the furthest north, or I guess this is the furthest north with the sleet line. And I'll show you the snow map. Look how much snow you get. Look how much snow you get. DC gets 6 to 12 easy. Easily gets 6 to 12. Delmarva, DC, Northern Virginia, Western Maryland, easy. These higher elevations could even get more. All of these places, you would still, and this could be underdoing it, to be honest. You would still get an easy 6 to 12. All of these places, Pennsylvania, and then you get a big 10 to 20. Okay, let me read the super chat here. Most real forecaster out there, appreciate your analysis. I'm hoping I'm in the jackpot zone in Springfield, Massachusetts. Oh, this is Clutch Lukey. I remember. I remember you, my man. Springfield, Massachusetts is in a great spot. I continue to become more and more confident in the potential for 10 to 20 inches across southern New England. And again, we'll refine the snow map as we get closer. But thank you so much, Beatrice. I'll call you by YouTube. Is Toronto, Ontario? I am not a Canadian forecaster. I'm not going to pretend to be a Canadian forecaster. But I think the precip shield could extend out there, yes. So that you could at least get some moderate snow totals out of this. But the precip shield could absolutely extend that far. Sorry, I gotta take a video here. What's going on outside? There's big dendrites falling right now. If you go look at radar in Massachusetts, you'll understand. Wherever you see those heaviest colors, I'm pretty close to them. If you go look right now. This surpassed my expectations, what we were doing here. But that's only because I was worried about this storm more, and I didn't do a good enough job at explaining the threats for tonight. Maybe some more on Thursday, Friday. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Some ocean enhanced possible. Yeah, someone was mentioning it. We got to keep an eye on this. Some ocean enhancement out ahead. You get a north wind off the ocean. You could get some ocean enhancement out ahead of the system here. Certainly possible. Certainly possible on Saturday, maybe Sunday too. Keep an eye on that. You see that there? Look at that. That's ocean enhancement. Oh boy, lots of chats. Philly suburbs getting snow, yes, and ice if possible. You could get some ice in Philly, but you, you're gonna get a lot of snow in Philly, regardless. Thumping in Manchester. How awesome! Fantastico. Hablo español un poco, pero bueno, no. Poquito. Hablo español. Pero no bueno, like I just said. No, I do not. I do not speak amazing Spanish, but I can sound like I do. Um, damn, Worcester. Again, say I am Worcester. Anybody from Mass knows. DJ Slank, we gotta get this right. Worcester, 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 Mass. It's not Worcester. It's not Worcester. It's not Worcester. It's Worcester, Worcester, Mass. Boston, Manchester, New Hampshire. Right? I can dive into the accent anytime I need to. I grew up around it way too much to not be able to do it. Auburn, Alabama. My first gut says you're going to be more rain with this system. I believe it's Jihan Row. Um, I think that's probably more rain in that area. If I had to guess, um, I'm pretty sure a lot of Alabama might get saved here, just due to the aspect of the terrain here. See how the Appalachians go down here, and then the cold wants to go down the low levels. You see that? Not that it won't go to elevation places as well, but that's how. So you have a CAD signature from this side, and you have a CAD signature from this side, and then you have a warm sector that's trying to push here, pumping in all of this moisture from the East Pack and pushing it up here. North Oklahoma, historic snowstorm of 12 plus, never had that much ever. I'm not going to pretend to be an Oklahoma weather forecasting expert. I'm not going to pretend to be, but we were talking about it earlier on stream. You might start as snow, you might then go to mix, and then you might end as snow again on the backside. And you could certainly get 6 to 12 plus inches if you do that. That's certainly a possibility. Mobile, yeah, Mobile, Alabama. If you're asking about that, not too worried about those places. Do we think we'll get mixing in NYC? It's irrelevant. New York City is gonna get a ton of snow, in my opinion, regardless. Mixing is not the concern. All of Alabama except yeah, maybe northern Alabama. Maybe northern Alabama. Temps were 15, now 55. Yeah, Rosa. Massachusetts people are nuts, and their accent is annoying. I love the accents. I think it's hilarious. It builds character. Thank you. I'd rather have rain and not ice. Well, I think you're going to be okay with that. Yeah, the ice potential is no bueno. Okay. Let me show you. I want to show you guys something here with this system. Why are we talking about such big totals? Why this system are all of a sudden after years? Why are we talking about this big of a snowstorm? Why? Because look at the upper level pattern now. I'm going to zoom out even more. Okay, I'm going to go to the northern. I'm going to go to the northern hemisphere. I'm going to show you. This is the entire northern hemisphere here. So obviously you can see we've set up a really good pattern here. From a pattern perspective, we have an active West Pacific jet here, West Pacific jet, and we have this Rossby wave pattern going around the world here. You can see these. It's a planetary. It's yeah. I'll just keep it simple. It's Rossby waves, meaning little amplifications in the jet stream. All of these here. You see these? All of these are Rossby waves, and it's going around the world right now. And what we've developed here is we've developed a massive western ridge here in the Pacific over the western U.S. or even into the East Pacific. And so with this pattern here, what this allows us to do is it allows one of these from the strong jet. We get one guy, we get a shortwave, a Rossby shortwave to go over, and we have this funnel and we get the rest of the upper level energy that gets sent here through the subtropical jet and gets amplified and gets shot in. So now we have two guys going in here. We have a massive Greenland block, and let me draw a little bit less. We have a massive Greenland high pressure system, but it's far enough north here. That's the key. If this was pressing farther south, this was another reason why I like this system. The high pressure, guys, was never retrograding southward. It was westward. It's retrograding westward, meaning it's moving westward. A high pressure system moving westward is going to allow upper level energy to go around it, not press on it. That's the difference here. So the upper level energy currently is working perfectly for the Northeast and New England. If it was pressing on it, then we'd be looking at a massive southern snowstorm potential instead of ice. This would be snowstorm instead of ice. You're gonna be having ballpark Frank's mustard. I love it. Oh, you want me to say it like that? I'm gonna be having ballpark Franks with mustard. I love it. Yeah, you just give it a little bit of a. You can't overdo it though in the Boston accent. You can't overdo it. A lot of people try to overdo it. It doesn't work. But so now you have this amplification in the pattern, and so you have this upper level jet enhances here and this here. So now you're in a pattern where these two come together across the central U.S. or the eastern U.S. and they amplify. So this is an eastern U.S. cold and snowy pattern, and we've been talking about how this is going to be developing for multiple weeks, and we already did. We already got a snowstorm out of it. We already had a snowstorm out of this, and we had a snowstorm. We had two snowstorms technically. We had one on Saturday, and then we had another one Sunday, Monday. Both part of the same system. Both part of the same system. And so Salisbury, Maryland, surrounding, that might be a little bit tougher. That might be a little bit tougher. But again, I'm just showing you right now why, if you're wondering what we're looking at, we're looking at why we have a snowstorm happening. Why? Because all of these Rossby waves, we have these short waves coming together. This guy is coming to meet this guy, and these two are going to come together. All of this subtropical moisture, this is deep tropical moisture here. Deep. This gets infused into the jet stream now. All of that tropical moisture. And you have the coldest Arctic air of the season. The coldest. This is the coldest air of the season we have right here. I'll play it out a little bit more. Is the coldest Arctic air of the season. And look at it, you see the jets coming together now, and you see the jet stream amplifying, because now you've sent warm, moist air to meet this dry, deep Arctic cold air that came directly from the Arctic. Anytime you get very cold to meet very warm and moisture, you combine those three together, you are going to get usually dynamic weather. Dynamic weather. And now, if you're talking upper level energy coming together, and you get the upper level jet stream to get as strong as it's about to, I'll zoom in a little bit now. Back to North America. Now take a look. That is a classic look for a massive snowstorm for the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Classic. You see this S-shaped here? Look at this S-shape. Classic. Upper level jet. You look right in that right entrance region. Right in here. All these places here get absolutely crushed. And oftentimes, this is why you don't want to be along the mix line with this storm to get the most snow. Now, you'll get crushed. You're still going to get crushed in the mid-Atlantic, I think, a lot of places. But more often than not, in these setups, the best dynamics are going to want to try to get closer and closer to this jet core. These are the upper level winds at way up in the atmosphere, and this is what drives the atmosphere a lot of times. It's one of the parts. This is a driving factor. And so now we continue this warm, moist flow to meet this incredibly strong, cold Arctic air. And so now what this allows to happen is these whole areas here. I mean, all of these areas, you can tell based on the upper level jet here, I'd be looking at for big to major snowstorm potential. This is what drives here. And you can look at this, and this is what tells you more. These surface maps, you can look at them all you want. They will never, ever, ever tell you as much. If you want to use model guidance, you got to use them for these pieces right here. You got to look under the hood, because model guidance will actually tell you what it's trying to show. Model guidance is way better than most people think. People are just obsessed with the surface maps. And that's the problem. Oh, we got multiple super chats here. I'll do my best to read these out. But while I do that, let me show a beautiful snow map so that you all don't go insane and you have something to look at. Because I know your attention spans are rough sometimes. Educated Redneck, I know it's really hard, but have you looked North Carolina on January 31st? It shows 20. I wouldn't be even flirting with totals. Even if the GFS was, I'm not sure how far south. It really doesn't matter that much. And then Indiana, I'll discuss in a second as well. But I gotta be a straight shooter that yes, there's a storm signal in my opinion, especially for the Mid-Atlantic Northeast, maybe even farther south. We'll see. Southwest, I think there's a storm signal beyond then, and we connected that. And I'll give you guys a little tidbit. I'll give you guys a little bit of a tidbit here. Let's go to Asia. Anytime you get a large snowstorm that ramps up around here, or if you get amplification in the jet stream around East Asia here in Japan, usually look around 8 to 14 days after that, roughly. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more. And there's a good chance that you'll have a shot for some sort of big storm near our region. Remember the storm a couple weeks ago that was up here and that produced ice down into south here? That was part of our Japan teleconnection. We just didn't have the right pattern in place at the moment to produce further southeast. This is another example. Our snowstorm that we had last weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that was a Japan teleconnection. That was a storm that happened there. And so now there's another one showing. There's another one, and so I'm looking at that, and I think we'll have another storm just because of how good the pattern. If the pattern wasn't good, then it would be less relevant. But be watching these areas here. We'll see, but there's a storm signal beyond. Sorry if you were to explain this, but you want explaining the snow ratios and the correlation with temps. Thinking about 2022. This will be colder than that. Maybe actually that was really cold too. That was really cold. I forgot. I wouldn't be shocked if this is even colder though. I think models may be underestimating the surface temps here as well. But since you super chatted, I absolutely have to go into depth because I never. I don't mean this in a rude way ever. I was kind of talking about Gerald with this after. It's like I question why you guys send super chats to me sometimes, to be honest, and it's more so out of a self-esteem thing rather than why would you? Because I'm just like, I think I'm decent at what I do, but like I just don't view myself in that lens ever. So anytime someone does send a super chat, for me, I'm like just honored, to be honest. I know it sounds simple. But I really don't take it for granted, and I appreciate it. But with temperatures. So temperatures, it's not just at the surface. You have to remember as well. I'll show you. I'll show you that. So people were talking about the ratios with this system, and that's the reason why I think we're going to get so much snow, is because we may pump out an inch of liquid. We may pump out an inch of QPF. I'll say, we may get an inch of QPF. I'll phrase it that way. And that what that will do is when you put that into very cold air, there's no choice but to be high ratios. Because the ground temp is so cold, it's easier for the snow to accumulate, and then also throughout the column. I'll show you soundings. You see that? So for good ratios, you need to be, another reason, guys, anytime you're saturated that high up in the atmosphere, that's a really good sign when you're this cold. You're this cold and you're well saturated. But also look, you need to look in the dendritic growth zone, which is very high up in the atmosphere, to be honest. I don't trust how accurate these are, but wait, is that minus 30? That is minus 30, sorry. This is minus 20. And you look, usually the core of it is minus 12. So this is minus 20. Here's minus 10. This is Celsius. Usually you look in the core of it from minus 12 to minus 18 is the most important for the lift. But especially from minus 20 to minus 10, you look from there. But look, it never gets to minus 10, ever. Which means your dendritic growth zone is so large. And anytime you have this dendritic growth zone, what is that? That's where your snowflakes are made. Your snowflakes are not made all the way up here. Your snowflakes are made in that region from minus 20 to minus 10. That is where you are made. That's the most important. You need to be well saturated. You need your green line to be close to the red line all the way down from this point here. Has to be. If you're not, it's going to limit the potential. The more and more farther away the red line is from the green, the harder it is for better ratios to happen. But every setup is unique. But with this one, as we're getting closer, it seems like we're going to have fantastic upper level saturation. The more saturated you are up through here is only better. And then we're going to be saturated well down to the surface as well, while being super cold. So the ground temperatures will be fantastic for accumulating. Meanwhile, the ratios up through here, and the reason why the ratios don't look as good as they do on guidance is because they're seeing the temperature at the top of the dendritic growth zone as very bad. But as you all know, with this last system, for those that were living here Sunday, Monday, the ratios were surprisingly impressive for the interior. While the surface temp was like around 30, I was very impressed. The ratios were very high for my area, personally at least. I was between 550, 600 feet elevation. They were rather high for me, and I was extremely impressed. And the reason why they were is because we had a large dendritic growth zone. This is going to be even larger. So the larger it is, the snowflake forms at the top, and that's more time. The more time it has, so you see the lift here, especially the red, that's lift is an indicator. And this does a terrible job at showing it. But I hate the weather bell soundings. But the more lift you have then here in the atmosphere, the more rising motion in the atmosphere to help create lift, to help create forcing, to help create heavier banding. The more of that you have in that area, the higher the ratios get as well. And so this won't be super high the entire system. But the deeper this dendritic growth zone is, the more time, even if it's not a ton of lift, a snowflake is an aggregate. A singular snowflake is an aggregate, one. The more time it has to build up, the better accumulating snowflake it can become. The better ratios you get, because that snowflake is then becoming better and better and better and better in terms of accumulation. So that is kind of how it works. Those are all the different things that I tend to be looking at when forecasting ratios. All important factors. All important factors. And I couldn't tell you what exactly it looked like in 2022. But I can tell you the death band was impressive. The difference between 2022 though, 2022 was a blizzard. So wind breaks up. That's another thing. The stronger the wind is, the more it breaks up the snowflakes. So the snowflakes get broken up, and you'll get some finer ones mixing in. That's why I was talking about it earlier, if you guys were curious. The wind was breaking up the snowflakes a little bit, and I was frustrated because I know that cuts down the accumulation a little bit. We probably lost like a quarter inch of snow to wind. As simple, it wasn't a ton of wind either. Well, we were sitting in 30 dBz banding, and it kept going in and out of these wind gusts, and I was frustrated. I was like, that's snow accumulation right there. I want that. And so that's another thing. We're not going to have strong winds until the backside of the system, and even then, and they may not be super strong. We'll see. That's something we can't explicitly forecast right now. So hopefully that helps provide some context. I know this isn't a lot of pretty maps, but it's very important. I missed a lot of chats. I got 6 inches from the last storm. You're right on the dot. I appreciate it. Right, I was envisioning 2 scenarios happening. I was envisioning a 4 to 8 and a 6 to 12. So I was like, you know what? Let's meet in the middle, and to account for those potential scenarios. And we got more towards the 4 to 8-ish. Just barely missed out on the best banding, consolidating a little bit longer. And so yeah, I appreciate it. Measured a few areas to make sure. Oh, here's another thing for this system. I got to be ultra clear. If you're snowing for a long duration period, make sure whatever area you measure on, clear it after about 6 to 12 hours. Try to clear it after about 6 to 12 hours, because the snow is going to compact. The ratios are going to be so high that, remember, since we're getting more snow, but the original liquid ratio is 10 to 1. Is 10 to 1. The ratios may be 20 to 1, though, let's say, for example, for at least a good period. So now the snow is going to want to compact over time back to the 10 to 1. So now you just may be measuring snow depth, because now you're measuring compaction. And this is from the National Weather Service and how they do it. So again, you can take the snow depth and send that as your snow total, because it will keep accumulating and it will be impressive. But just know that like your true snowfall total accumulation is somewhere you want to clear every about 6 to 12 hours. You want to do that. Personally, the National Weather Service tells you every 6 hours, but not everybody is always able to do that. I appreciate it. Thanks. You're welcome, Stephen. I shall. I will try to report you as soon as you do, instead of report to you as soon as you can 8 days later. Let's see. What you talking about, Willis? Yeah. It was pretty cold once it got going overnight, and it cranked pretty good. Let's see here. Galax, Virginia. Interesting. I do not know where Galax, Virginia is. If you tell me if it's Northern Virginia, is it Central Virginia, is it Eastern Virginia, is it close to the Delmarva, is it Southern Virginia? It all plays a part. Look at the sounding for Chattanooga. Oh boy, that's going to be hard to pull. My watch does not even give me an estimate. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Mega Masher, but I may have missed what you were saying. Do you think this can resemble the 2016 blizzard? I'm not sure. I don't think. The only way you could get to those totals is if you get the coastal redevelopment in the perfect spot. And you're asking the atmosphere to do something perfect. This far out, it's unrealistic. So I wouldn't lean on it. But that doesn't mean somewhere couldn't get 2 feet out of this. I'm just not going to explicitly forecast that right now. I'm telling you guys, I'm going to be doing so many conversions in my head to try to pinpoint, to try to pinpoint what's going to happen here as we get closer. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough. I mean, I'm going to be doing like hours and hours of computations with stuff like that. Just got a winter storm watch in Pittsburgh. That's very much warranted, I think, and maybe even early. Well, I guess Saturday it's coming in. Drake or Brady, I'm not sure what that means. Sorry, I'm trying to go through the chats here and try to give you. Oh, if you want to measure ice, so imagine this is the tree branch here. Usually one side of the ice is going to be longer than the other. You take the average of how long that is and how long or how large that accumulation is. So let's say if it's 3/4 of an inch in ice on this side and it's a 1/2 inch on this side, you take the even amount of that, and that's the measurement you can send in to people. You can tag me in it. You can comment it. You can send it to the National Weather Service. It's very more helpful for them than for me, but I'm always curious. And so that is that's the best you can do to measure that accumulation. 30 miles northeast of Raleigh. Well, you're in a good spot for ice. Not that it's a good thing, just you just happen to be. Let's see here. Expanded the winter storm watches. Yeah, they'll keep expanding those. Those will get all the way up into New England easily. Probably up into Maine if I had to guess eventually. Pulled my calculator for the ratios. I'm addicted to winter weather. That is that's not a bad thing. What do you think the chances are of the system shifting south, or does the north shift continue? I want to make it very clear. And you allow me to bring up a very good point. Gots to be. Allow me to bring up a very good point. The storm is not shifting. The models are. And the models don't dictate what the storm is going to do. The models are dictated by what the storm is doing. So you have to remember that. The models are reactionary to what the storm is doing and how the pieces are coming together. The storm hasn't formed yet, so it can't be shifting. The storm hasn't even formed yet. It's model's opinion. That's what it is. Right? It's like your favorite sports team, and you hear the media talk about it. The media is reactionary to what happened. The media cannot tell you what is going to happen. It's a little bit different. Weather models, it's not the same, but some media members are much better than others at predicting what's going to happen, right? Some are much better at predicting what's going to happen than others. And the ones that predict what's going to happen more times than not are the ones that get oftentimes relied on more. But that doesn't mean they're right all the time, and they may get the specifics off too, of the score, what players did well, etc. Doesn't matter. You can use it for any sport, the analogy, or really anything. You could use it if you love the Golden Globes or the Oscars. What movie is going to win. There's certain people that might have better knowledge on that than others. I guess if I'm not, I don't care as much about that world. But if you do, that's another example. Yeah, here on the Euro, it's just showing that phase a little bit better. Man, I just wish we could get this a little further south, the redevelopment, because boy, the potential is it's so high. It's so high if you get the redevelopment to occur. And right now, you're really in the perfect spot for some of these places here. So hopefully that answers your question. Gots to be. It's not the storm shifting. My thoughts right now, I'm going to continue to, hopefully we'll get to a threat map here tonight. I wouldn't be shocked if we don't, but I really think you get into the mid-Atlantic, into New England here. Maybe that might be a little far for the heaviest. I really think that I'm looking at right there. This is where I'm looking at for the heaviest accumulations to happen. This could shift a little bit. My thoughts could shift. I mean, we have to refine a mix line. You have to remember that. That's tricky. So you got to give me some leeway here by about 50 to 100 miles at this range. Like this can shift some, but I'm sticking with my thoughts. I'm sticking with what I had from 3 days ago, from 3 nights ago at this point. So this is the third night in a row now, and I'm sticking to the forecast. Models can keep shifting. I'm sticking to what I got. I got nothing to suggest otherwise right now. I'm just showing you what models are doing because they can best, because we're talking about the future and models are showing the future. Current analysis is not showing the future. So it's hard for me to show you that and you guys connect the dots. I can connect the dots better, but not as many of you can. Actually, it's not that you couldn't, it's just you guys don't. A lot of you aren't as psycho-obsessed about the weather as I am in terms of forecasting it. For whatever dumb reason, I decided that I wanted to start forecasting this and have thousands of people grade my forecasting ability from storm to storm. So not sure. It's like deciding to sign up for the talent show every single week. Trying to put yourself in front of everybody. There's some pressure. You guys don't know it. There's there's a lot of pressure I put on myself to make these snow maps accurate. It's a lot of pressure. Some of it's good pressure, but some of it is not good stress. And it's all out of just trying to get the end result and realizing with the platform I have now, which isn't massive. It's not the biggest, but it's a solid platform. We have over 10,000 now, almost 10,000 combined subscribers and followers on X and YouTube. And so when you do that, that's a lot of people watching, and more people than that can see it as well than just your followers. So that's the other thing. Thank you for being awesome. Just gained a new subscriber in Knoxville, Tennessee. Well, I don't take that for granted. I appreciate that much, very, very much, Godspeed. Very much. I don't take anybody that is willing to take the time to come and listen to me of what I have to talk about for granted. I never expected this. Never, ever expected this to be. I don't have a degree in meteorology. I self-taught everything. And just found the right people online. I found the right video. I found the right live. I'm really good at finding the information. I'm really good at that. But applying it is very difficult. And luckily, Mother Nature drives me to apply the information. So I'm not ashamed of it. I love it. You shouldn't be. See, I'm psycho obsessed, but it's not always healthy. Oh, we know, NC Player. We know. I've seen enough of your chats now to know. But I'm very happy with you tonight, NC Player. You've been much less intense, and I'm very happy about that. You've taken a little bit of a chill tonight. I'm very happy tonight. We got to keep that going. Because it makes it very much a less toxic environment for everybody to enjoy. I'm not saying you're toxic. I'm just saying we want to create the chillest environment possible for everybody. And when we don't try to confrontation for people we never met, it's very easy. I want this chat to be a safe space for you all, to not feel like you need to go back and forth with each other, but more so listen to what I have to say and be able to go through. All right, well, that's less important information for me, but I'm glad you feel comfortable enough to share. I'm going to need this to not phase and be flat, please, says John Fletcher. Unfortunately, these two are not, I'm almost certain these two are not going to miss at this point. I just don't see it happening. Sorry, John. There's at least going to be a partial phase here, in my opinion, at least. And honestly, at this point, even if you were to get an extremely limited phase, with what we've done with the separation here, and these two are connected, so the more these separate, the more it's a double expansion. It allows this to phase better and allows the overrunning preset to get farther in front. So it's a double-edged sword for Southern people, unfortunately. But the more that these height lines rise out in front, the less overrunning preset that gets drawn further south. And so this is why further northeast areas also are getting potential more snow here, is because now you're getting this overrunning precip to get out in front and out ahead. and not get lost into the Atlantic. Now you're keeping more precipitation, so you'll also increase the amount of totals potentially as well, in my opinion, for places further north. And this is going to be a storm here, guys, too, where it probably for a period it will be where with that there will be a big band with this. There will be a big band, but after the big band, there'll probably be a lot of moderate snow, and so that's what's gonna. But the ratios will be so high that it'll continue to accumulate. Oh, there's a super chat here from Stephen Cahill. I know it stays out, but rough timing on when the flakes start flying and stop. I think we're starting to become a little bit more confident on the stop. A little bit on the start time. Sunday. Sunday and probably not the morning. Um, it's possible Sunday morning it could start. We'll see, but somewhere if I had to guess right now, if you had to put a if you put a if you put an object to my head and it made me try to pinpoint, I would say probably around later Sunday morning into Sunday p.m. is when I would have to guess. And then the end time, it looks to be probably late Monday, if not Tuesday morning. Like it could be, this could go till Tuesday morning. It's not out of the realm of possibility. This goes till Tuesday morning. Let me see here that band potential. Is it going to be at 700? My goodness, look at this. Look at all of that heavy banding that gets out there. You know who could get hammered here? It's a long duration storm. That's why I don't even think the ratios are doing it justice. I really don't. You know who could get hammered with this storm? Southwestern PA in these elevation places here. Keep an eye on that. That's a sneaky potential to watch here. Because there's going to be a period where the overrunning kind of stops and waits to consolidate upper level energy for the band. If we do see the death band come together, if we do see the death band come together here, again, always 700 millibar, you look along into the north or to the northwest. If it's moving like this, then you look here. I'm going back to pink. It's easier to see. You always look along into the north, or if it's over here, then you look to the northwest. So keep that in mind when you're looking at it. This tells you the banding. The preset maps don't. This is what's really trying to tell you the banding. And the P-type maps will smooth it out. But if we were to do this with those ratios, this is probably a 2 to 4 inch per hour rate band right here. Probably. Maybe even stronger, or maybe even higher with the ratios. And you can see it wouldn't be forever. But these are 3-hour increments. So you see how much time it's still taking to get there? You could be in the heavy banding for several hours and you'll stack up. And that's something the Kuchera maps will not account for. The Kuchera maps do not account for lift in the dendritic growth zone. They don't. The Kuchera maps only account for temperatures, not lift. They will not account for that. So that's why I'm saying some of those mid-Atlantic areas I think are going to do just fine. Because you're going to have very strong lift for a period of time out ahead. We can look at the 850s too. And yeah, look at your 850 banding there. Comes together too and it pushes north too. It gets there and redevelops. It's just a long duration storm. Look at it, and that's more banding that has to pull out then. See that, how it slides out to the east then after? That's the phase. That's the coastal redevelopment. That is the only period of the storm where you could throw out the B word then for blizzard. This is it. What you see those isobars tighten? See how they come closer together here? That's the only chance. And even then, I'm not sure we'd be able to do it. There's that fun we looked at with the euro as well. Joseph, will subsidence be an issue? Subsidence will always be an issue. Someone within the banding will get less, a little bit. But I'm having a tough time. But here, everybody is going to get into probably some version of a death band with this storm. Not everybody, but a good amount. A good amount of people are. You're going to get into the death band here. Everybody gets into it. And look at the strong lift at 502 out ahead, and then upper level low forms right on top of us to the north. Southwest east side of the mountains. Veronica, I don't know where you're asking. Joel, potential snow differences from the top or the bottom to the Delmarva Peninsula. Yeah, the northern Delmarva Peninsula. I'm worried a little bit. So I'm not gonna lie. Southern Delmarva, I am worried about. And it's only because you're gonna get the flow off the Atlantic once the transfer happens, and so you're not gonna get onto the backside. And then you might go quickly to the your pathway for this, your pathway for 6 to 12 inches for here is to make sure that you get into the best banding for long enough. You need to get at least 3 to 6 hours into the heavy banding, and then you can get a snowstorm. And I think the euro shows that even. You see that? There's 3 hours. There's 6 hours, there's 9 hours, and then you mix. If you get at least 6 hours into that banding, you'll easily get at least 4 to 8 inches, and you could get and then you could get 6 to 12, especially with the heaviest banding, because ratios will not. And then you'll go to ice, and then you might finish as rain. You see how that you might just go to rain. You're now the flow is coming off the Atlantic. You've done the you're doing the transfer, and now you have a flow off the ocean that's pushing the warm air there, and from the south as well, to be clear. And then once the transfer completes, though, you watch as the transfer completes, then you might go back to ice. But this is a specific solution as well, to be clear. It'd be fun compared to this system, Blizzard 93, and the systems involved. Max ceiling in New Jersey. I mean, I guess 2 feet is a max ceiling, but I don't even want to throw those out there right now. Just let's get a little bit closer before we start talking about exact numbers for the max ceiling. But I do think there's a high ceiling, and I think I think the highest ceiling is probably back into here. This is probably the highest ceiling. These places here, if I had to guess. That does not mean any of these places here will not get crushed with double-digit snowfall. Let me be explicitly clear about that. That does not mean these places here, that may be a stretch, but at least here will not get double-digit snowfall. Here, people see this and freak out. Stop looking at precipitation maps as defining your storm. Also, if you're thumping snow, and let's look at New York City. Let's go to hour 93, and I'll show you here on the Euro. I'll show you. I bet you the warm nose is so small. I bet you it's very limited. Let's go to New York City. Hour 93. Let's go find it. Look at it. It's showing sleet. You never sleet. You never sleet in New York City. Not once on this sounding does it show that. Not once. If you're snowing here, if you're not snowing anyways. The only time you would sleet here is if you're not snowing, and you wouldn't be accumulating anyways. You never sleet on this Euro run. It's why the precipitation maps are garbage. They're garbage. If this red line never crosses, and even if it does, if it's minimal, you are not sleeting. You're not. This is not a sleet. The Euro does not show a single bit of sleet on this run here. Not any. None. None in New York City. None on this run. That's snow. If you're snowing good, even at a moderate clip on this, that's snow. Maybe you get a few sleet pellets mixing in. And at that point, you've already got a bunch of snow. You've already got a bunch of snow at that point. We can go to the Canadian too. Canadian does show a little bit. Does. But look what you do for hours before then. 6, 9, 12. That's not that if you're heavy snowing, this is all snow. All snow. If you're heavy snowing. Look how small that warm nose is. That's minor. Dynamic cooling, upper level cold air will win out. It'll get pulled down on heavier rates. You wouldn't be mixing there. On the farthest north. There, maybe. There, maybe. And then it retracts. And then it retracts as the transfer happens. And then boom, now you go back to snow. It's a little less saturated, but this doesn't show the saturation. I don't know what it is. This doesn't show the lift well, and it doesn't show the saturation well on this model. I don't know why it is, but it just doesn't, or on Weatherbell. So for anybody worried about mixing in New York City, Long Island, North Jersey, even into Central Jersey, I would say. Central Jersey is a little bit different with the setup, but you got to stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about it. It would take something drastically different than what I think is going to happen now. Is it possible? If the setup changes more than I think is what's going to happen, then it absolutely is. And even if you did, you would get a ton of snow in a front end thump. You would get a ton of snow in the front. You would get double-digit snowfall easily. If that's the case, if you're worried about mixing in New York City, that means the precipitation has come so far north and heavy enough that you're getting enough. New York City, you need to not worry about this. I'm telling you. You need to not worry about it. This is not what's going to define whether you get a bunch of snow or not. It's not. And I think the same sentiment applies to Philly. I really do think it does. I think regardless, Philly gets crushed. I'm really getting more confident in that as we get closer. Or we're 3 days away from onset? We're 3 days away from the start of this thing? Very, very, not only the model failure, the Brady failure that would need to happen for me to think otherwise. There's just not enough that is leaning me against that right now. Not enough. I'm telling you right now too. I think DC is still in a fine spot for this system to get a good amount of snow. Northern Maryland, Southern Jersey, even DC, Northern Virginia especially. Northern Virginia even more than DC, I think potentially. Especially that northwest corner up by get closer to the Appalachians. I think you're in a great spot. I think you're in a very good spot. But man, I just keep worrying about the ice potential with this system, man. I really do. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you mix in southern New England, that means the precip came so far that you got a bunch of heavy precip beforehand. There's no worrying about mix. You're getting a bunch of snow. If you were to, in theory, you that means you've gotten a bunch of snow in southern New England. It's not a concern. It is not a concern. Yeah, Maryland is gonna. I mean, everybody's gonna be put under winter storm watches and warnings probably, unless they're ice storm warnings. But everybody, yeah, everybody's gonna get put under the watches. So no, mixing does not matter in southern New England. It matters for your ceiling. That's in the only tense it matters. It matters for your ceiling, and that's it. Get a cough drop here. Keep the voice going. Northwest New Jersey, fine spot. Northwest New Jersey, I'm getting confident in. And by tomorrow night, I'm going to change my phrasing probably from I'm getting confident to happening. That's probably how we're going to be starting to change the wording because there's still a little bit of time. There's still some benchmarks we need to hit here. There's still some benchmarks we need to hit here with this system. Okay. Let's get to well, let's look at the ensembles first, and then I think you guys want to make a threat map. We're gonna pull out Photoshop, and we're gonna make the threat map, and then we'll call it a stream, and that will take a while to make the threat map. So don't worry, we're not ending it right now. Just got some stuff to do here. Do you think 10 to 16 inches is a good call? 30 miles northwest of Philly, it could be even more. I'm saying 10 to. I'm saying I'm leaning. I'm getting more and more confident in 10 to 20 inches. I'm not sure what that's referring to, NC player, but sorry, I can only see so many chats at the same time. But yeah, life is precious. Let's go to the ensembles here, and I'm also on the side. I mean, the subtropical I'm looking to on satellite on the side here. It's just so well put together. So well put together. That's gonna come on through. If the subtropical jet was so suppressed, then I'd be less optimistic about this being a mid-Atlantic to northeast snowstorm. I would be, but that's not the case. Okay, let's take a look here. All right. And then we looked at that. We want to look at that Euro ensemble as well. Same thing. Same thing. Even more. Even more, leaning into it. Explicitly. The ensemble mean explicitly showing it. Explicitly showing that. I would really love for us if we could rot out. If you just when you get that transfer, man, and you just continue throwing preset back in. Just continuing to throw back moderate snow, throwing back the flow. That would be, and I think we will at this point. I think we're getting some coastal redevelopment at this point. The question is to what extent. Yeah, Tennessee is gonna get. Tennessee's probably in line for ice here. Tennessee's probably in line for ice with this system. I know that's not what you want to hear necessarily, but it's going to be tough to avoid that. Yeah, we're gonna make the threat maps in a second here. Still going, by the way. I'm still snowing right now. Still snowing. That's an impressive ensemble mean, though, to be in this range. It's been a long time since I've seen something like that, and all that means is just it's been too long. No, you got to remember, we were spoiled in the 2000s and 2010s, and I try to make that clear, and not enough people understand that. That's about you. You lived in one of the peak time frames of winter weather ever. Be glad you lived it. Don't try to hold on to it for every single winter. It's hard to do what we did there for so long. Can't take it for granted. I know everybody wants it to happen like that, and we're probably going to get a vintage. It seems like we're getting closer to a vintage one of those 2010s, one of those winters. This, I'm telling you, this was not even the kind of major storm. I thought we would get at least one, but this isn't even the way I thought we would do it. Which means I think we can get another one this winter. I think we can get another major storm this winter. Just finished shoveling, John. I still got to shovel after this. God freaking damn it. I got to shovel. Luckily, I did some earlier, but that was only like the first inch of snow. There's been like a couple more on top of that. And we're still in like a light moderate band here right now. It's just the snow has gotten a bit wetter. It was a little bit drier to start. We were like in the 20s, and I think we're in the 30s now. Okay. Look at the Canadian ensemble. I'm a little curious about that. Yeah, that could be one. Link rules. It could be one. But at this point, we just might be in a loaded pattern. So we just may have significant storm threat after significant storm threat after significant storm threat. That just might be the kind of pattern we're in here. I mean, I knew we were going into a really good pattern, but I mean, you can only explicitly forecast something so much. It's never a smart thing to go into a pattern saying we will get like 3 major winter storms here. I mean, I love shoveling. It's not that I don't love shoveling. It's just I got to wake up tomorrow, and this is all going to go late. It's just going to take time. I love shoveling. I love being out in the snow. I just don't. I don't. It's just going to take some time. Um, we can't. We can't say that link rules. Sorry, just not in the chat here. I know what you mean. Well, off the cuff, it's I personally I don't care about how people use words. But we gotta choose our words a little bit better. It's Galix, Virginia, southwest corner, east side of the mountains. You could start us some snow. You could, but getting increasingly concerned about the ice potential there, Veronica. Getting rather increasingly concerned about the ice potential there. Let's see how the Canadian here. Yeah, similar to the euro and the euro AI. But Twolsey had the similar idea too. Oh, do we got another? Do we have another plow coming through? Or am I hearing things? Maybe. Thank you, link rules. Still north for the mall. Was he the high pressure suppressing this thing? It's a moving high pressure. We kind of discussed this. Um, the pattern I like, but my snow removal customers have to pay more. Yeah, I get that. I know this is a. I know I'm a little into the plow world. So I just being so much into weather and actually I had to discuss with the National Weather Service in the 2020-2021 winter. I kept getting jackpotted. So they were like shadow banning my totals, my local. Don't crap it. The National Weather Service is great, and but sometimes they decide if it doesn't fit, they don't show the snowfall totals. They just keep them and they don't show it if they don't think it was potentially accurate. But I kept getting jackpotted in the 2020-2021 winter, and they send them an email and stuff saying like you kept being top 5 in your county, and I was like, listen, um, just because I'm accurately measuring the snow, it doesn't mean you have to take it. You don't have to show it. And they were like, oh well, the plows and stuff, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't measure for the plows. I measure for me and my historical data. So that I got that was my first insight into, I guess, very important for the plows what they see on those totals and how much. But for me, it's just about getting it. It's just about getting the totals right. That's all I care about for historical purposes. I have nearly a decade of a log of snowfall totals. I mean, I've been doing for a while now. I've been measuring storms. Yeah, I have this. I have the spotter ID as well. I'm a trained spotter as well. I have a great late night voice. Well, thank you. I have. I think so fast. It's not always smart, but I think so fast that I vocal fry. So I wish I was a little bit smoother. It would help. It would help my singing voice sound a little bit smoother. Um, but yeah, anybody can get a local spotter ID. Anybody can get a local spotter ID, and you can it allows you to help. Gives allows people to measure the snowfall. That's all it does. So what do you see with this? Fortnite? This to me feels like a mid-Atlantic to Northeast snowstorm, and it will extend back into the Midwest as well. It will extend back here, but for the East Coast, specifically where I specialized in. Well, thank you. Thank you for saying I have a soothing voice. And also, thank you for being a new sub. Eclipse, I appreciate it. Fredericksburg, Virginia. Is that Northern Virginia? Sorry, I actually don't know. Um, I don't know Northern Virginia as well as I should. I know like Arlington, you got DC, and then it's just like the mountains. So I have trouble. Knoxville. But again, Mid Atlantic Northeast is where I think for the East Coast. That's where I've been leaning. If you watched the first video we made on this storm 3 nights ago, you would know that that's where I was leaning, and I was becoming more and more confident, and then now more and more confident. Remember, I was leaning this way. I was leaning this way when all the guidance was showing the snow here. That's where I was leaning. And it wasn't because I was hoping it would go north. It was because I think that it was how active the subtropical jet was. And these pieces here, it was a moving high pressure. And we had the Greenland block moving westward, which means the pieces are not going to want to suppress as much. They're going to want to move to the east. But you'll know I mentioned if the Greenland block was retrograding further south, then I'd be concerned these pieces would be pressing. But it's a moving high pressure. And it will then halt around here, and so allow the precip shield to expand, but the mix line will not be able to zoom. The mix line can't zoom. You have a strong surface high, strong CAD signature in place, out ahead of the system and in behind. Fredericksburg is just outside of DC. That's perfect. Yeah. I'm still leaning towards a floor of 6 to 12 in DC. I think your ceiling is 10 to 20 inches, though. I really do. I really think you could end up getting about 10 to 20 inches of snow out of this. I know it's a range, but that's just the range I'm going for everybody, in these places here. Uh, yeah, south of DC and Springfield. South of DC is a little different. Fredericksburg's about 50 miles south. Well, then that changes my thought process a little bit. 50 miles south is a difference. I would still lean that way, but a little less confident then. If you're south, if you're 50 miles south, 50 miles south is a good deal. If you're 50 miles south, then you're probably not going to get as much of a front end dump. If you're lucky, you can get 3 to 6, 6 to 12, and then your ceiling could be 12 to 18. It's really a wide range when you're along the mix line, so let's keep that in mind. Yep, we've been talking about that, John. Coastal low redevelopment. Coastal low redevelopment. We've been talking about that. I certainly think it's a possibility here. And the Canadian explicitly is showing that pretty well. The ensemble mean of the Canadian. So do you think the South could get a food snowstorm? I mean, listen. All I was saying is the South is in play here. Once we get into the second half of January, that's what I've been saying. I've been saying it for weeks now. Anybody following my X account knows that this pattern is not limited to the South. It's just this is a classic for Mid Atlantic, Northeast, and Great Lakes. This was turning into a classic favorable cold and snowy pattern, but not limited to the Southeast as well. In my opinion, right now, just based on the current pattern, in my opinion, in the Southeast, I would be hoping for a coastal low that gets going early. And you just had one, and you got snow, right? It just wasn't for these places. We had Gulf Coast snow. We had snow down to the Gulf Coast. Several inches of accumulating. We had 1 to 3 inches of accumulating snow, even a little bit more, I think, in some places. So there's been some southern snow. It just wasn't in your spot, I think. That can be an unfortunate outcome. Show you the GFS ensemble mean as well. But I want to go here first. Comes together pretty nicely, just not as much as the others. But GFS is the GFS. Um, Share this. This dude is legit. I don't usually support anyone. Let's support. We're really get into an iconic 100K subs. If I get this to 100,000 subs eventually, I will. My only goal is the bigger we get, the more and the safer space this becomes for people to geek out about the atmosphere, and be an accurate source. Ideally, be more accurate than most people out there that put forecasts. And I think we're doing a good job of that. We just got to keep getting better, though. We can't just assume that we're going to do well in every storm. So it's I got to keep. It's not that I got to keep. It's just I want to. If I didn't want to, then I wouldn't view it as a priority. But I want to keep getting better at forecasting. It's very important to me. Very important for me to keep getting better at forecasting because I'm obsessed with putting the puzzle pieces together and figuring out the end result. That's what matters to me. Not these specific model runs. They matter, but as a tool, not for the forecast and the end result. That's not what matters. Okay. So we've been looking at all this. Let's go to Photoshop, and we're gonna make a threat map. How does that sound, guys? Again, I forecast for the Mid Atlantic and Northeast. So if you don't see your area on there, it's because I'm not an expert on that area. Not that I'm an insane expert on these areas. I just that will that will that wouldn't be fair to you guys to forecast a region that I'm not incredibly well up to par with. You got to know the topography, the geography. You just there's certain ins and outs that you know from being in your area, and it's not my responsibility to forecast it. Maybe we'll do it eventually, but I just don't see it for right now. Um, I really don't see it right now. But let's make a. This was the last threat map we made. There was not a single piece of operational guidance showing what this happened at this time. So I'm going to give myself credit there. There was not a piece of operational guidance showing the snow shield this far. So I'll give myself credit for that. also said if it ends up being complete whiff, that'll hurt the credibility. Well, I'm not sure what credibility of the South, but for me, I mean, there's pieces you can put together to know something. Just because something's 2,000 miles away, that doesn't mean you still can't forecast it well. All that means is models are going to keep shifting. But there are certain things you can put together to know what might happen. So, but I appreciate it. Thank you, NC Player. Always wanted to be met too. Stuff. It can be fun. Will Charlotte, North Carolina get snow? Sorry, my man. I don't think so. I don't think so. My mom just wants to know if there will be ice and snow or just ice. I think ice and maybe rain at the end. Yeah, freezing rain is your biggest concern in Charlotte. So yeah, so there's still a lot of time for models, but I hope that for models to change. But my thought process is staying the same here. Carolina ice, Mid Atlantic Northeast snow, Mid Atlantic also ice with snow. That is my thought process there. Your threat map is put out of date. This is not my threat map for this storm. My threat map. This was the last one I made. I didn't make. I. This is. I'm. We're about to make it. My threat map is not out of date. I've just yet to make it. This was the last one. This was 3 days out. Not a single model had anything. They had nothing. I had to go out on a limb. It's not fun to be on an island. I'm telling you. No model support and make a forecast. This was 3 days before the snow. I was like, you know what? I believe in it. I believe in it. I believe in the setup. I believe in my knowledge of the setup. I believe in it. I got to go with it. We're wrong. We're wrong. Luckily, we weren't. We weren't. Now that doesn't mean all of these areas. I made that clear that all of these areas weren't going to see a big snowstorm. I made that clear within the context. But this was more so to give an idea of the area to watch for snow with the system. And then within that, we said this is where the biggest snowfall totals would be, and we're in here. And we highlighted that on the snow map. Is there a chance? I mean, I'm sorry, your ice in Charlotte is Charlotte. You're not going to get snow with this. I would have to be so drastically wrong, which is possible, but um, we've been doing well lately, so I don't see it. But okay, let's make our threat map. Well, the easy part here with this is I can just draw the entire area for the first layer at least. Oh, I can't do that. Well, hold up. If we don't feather it at all, let me just do this. All right, let's take this off. For those new and joining the channel, you're getting a little bit of insight here on the under the hood, the analysis. We like to deep dive. If you're curious about the science, you're a little bit interested in the meteorology behind this stuff and the weather. What the meteorologists and the weather people are looking at. I take you and I take you down the avenue, and I try to do it better than everybody else. That's my goal. That's every forecaster's goal, is trying to put the best. We're not comparing with each other. We're just trying to get the result right. Honestly, meteorologists aren't really honestly trying to compare to each, like, they're, some are snarky and like will tell you why you're wrong, but it's more so because they think of a certain setup, not because it's against you most of the time. So keep that. Most meteorologists are not most meteorologists are not out to get each other. They're more so to get the forecast right. And I know I'm not. I hope everybody can get the forecast right. So then I can stop having people, well, you guys get it wrong all the time. Well, no, look at all these people. See, and we're gonna get it wrong. The question is how wrong. Okay, so this will save me from not having to fill in if I just do this here. Look at that little trick. Now I don't have to draw all over it. Guess what? Everybody in here, I think, is going to get some snowfall. Think I'm better than most meteorologists? Well, I hope to be. I'm trying to be as good as I can. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm extremely competitive. Extremely. That's the athlete in me. That's the sports side of me. But I'm very obsessed with trying to get you guys the best information possible. I want to make it so that you come to my channel, you see that it's accurate, and you also see, though, he's explaining everything on why he thinks it's going to happen. And I'm learning. I'm learning about what's happening. I can now look at actually, and I can apply this for myself. That's the biggest thing. Forget the accuracy for a second. I want you all to be able to come to this channel, be able to look at these high in-depth meteorology maps, and you can now start applying them for yourself, and you can understand what we're looking at and the importance of it. It gives you a really good opportunity to kind of get to understand what's going on behind the meteorology of every system. And so now you don't have to be in the know. You go to all your friends, you go to all your family, and you can, say, hopefully maybe you were watching the channel or after enough time. And now anytime you can look at the forecast on your own, you don't need to come to my video or anything else. You can go look at it yourself then, because you've learned it enough, and now you can put the pieces together. So then when you're hearing, oh, they're saying this for how much snowfall, you can be like, no, I don't think that's going to happen. And you can start applying it for yourself. So hopefully that's, well, Gastonia, no, I don't think North Carolina. You have a slim chance for northern North Carolina to get some front end thump. A slim chance. And slim chance. But I wouldn't explicitly forecast it right now. And then it's the same with Asheville. It's the same thing. Same thing. Ice. And thank you so much, Kevin Deary. Thank you, NC Player, and thank you, Gots to Be. All right, next region. Do we make 2 layers or do we make another one? I know, NC Player, but they like to ask the host always. It's the same thing when I go into, when I'm in Gerald's chat and I try to answer questions to people, I see they keep throwing the question because I'm just like a side person. I'm not the main show. A lot of people that tune into Gerald's stream sometimes are like, who the heck is on the phone? Like, that's kind of how they view it. And so, I really don't care. I'm just trying to, on those streams, I'm just trying to hope I can add in, I can, again, NC Player, let's not, remember, NC Player, can we not try to start things up again? Remember, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. I put South Carolina, but it changed to North Carolina. Well, South Carolina is North Carolina is not. South Carolina is not going to see snow either. So keep that in mind. South Carolina is more of an ice concern, except for the coastal part of the state will probably get saved for rain. Thank you, NC player. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay, let's make the next layer. What did I do here? Well, that was for Saturday snow. I know, but you don't know them. You don't know them. So if we don't know somebody, it's not. No, I know you're good. It's just if we don't know somebody, we got to be careful. We have no context. We have no context to why anybody is saying who they are, what their situation. So it's always best to lean and assume that people are okay. Um, and if they're coming to the channel and asking questions on a weather forecast, I'm not. It's really hard for me to get too mad about that at all. Is the thing. Let's make the next layer. I mean, I'm going to draw the whole area almost here. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm drawing the whole area. And I drew this over the ocean layer is the problem. So let me, can I not delete the layer? I'll just undo the anchor point. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. Okay. Let's not draw over that. That's not what we're trying to do. Oh, it went all the way to the top. My goal is one reason that I'm excited, hopefully, that we could eventually get a lot bigger is because then I can have people who are Photoshop experts. They can guide me through it eventually too. Like the magic wand tool, I am still figuring out here. For those just entering, we're making a threat map. Listen. I forecast for a lot of the eastern U.S. to try to help give you guys some insight, but this is where I specialize, and I'm not going to try to BS you and give you a map that is not authentic. And because I cannot give you a forecast for an area I don't know well enough. But you see a lot of times people make these big snow maps for these big regions, and then they go in assuming that's accurate, and it's not. These national YouTube, oftentimes with, not going to say any names, but I'm sure you all know one big one, that kind of just BSs you and doesn't give you what I'm not ever going to try to explicitly trash. He's one of maybe the only ones I will because I just don't respect. I just don't respect that aspect. But there's some that teeter the line and don't realize it. So, okay, let's draw over. I mean, we're drawing literally almost all over this. I think I'm going to go all the way up to. I'll play it safe for now. I'll play it safe for now. I'm gonna play it safe for now. Hold on. I just want to see the snow shield on what guidance is shown right now. See, I do use guidance. I do use guidance. I'm gonna go to it's okay, NC player. It's not a requirement. Well, the thing about the thing about the GFS is you got to remember the thermals. That warm air, probably down south, is probably going to try to come pretty fast. It's probably going to try to come north. Sorry, come north pretty fast. Let's get here. I mean, even the AI has got that. Yeah, we're going to live. Yeah, let's live with there because I know how we're going to phrase it. I know how we're going to phrase it. You're going to have a redevelopment situation in Maine too. That's the fun part about that forecast there. So, but we'll live there for now. And then let's go. We're just going to do 2 layers. and then we can adjust as we get closer. I'll probably hold on this for tomorrow night as well. Da, 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 da. Let's go to file. Let's go to edit, new image. We want the color. No, we want to click on the layer. We want to click on it and then give me the colors. Show me the money. You know, we probably the colors. We need to go to probably. I think we can start going. Let's go to the pinks. Oh, oh. How it's been a minute since we've been able to do that. It's been a minute. All right, let's go to the shape here, and let's go to the blue contrast is gonna look, I think, schmexy. And why didn't it show it? Oh, that's the other shape. Whoa, whoa. Look at the pretty colors. See, I make pretty colors too. I do it. And this is where I start, and we're going to gradient it a little bit here. Because it looks smoother too. And look at that. I think that looks pretty good. That's a first try too. That's not bad. Hey BGWX, I love your content. Gotta go to bed. Somebody asked if Central PA is Central PA in a good spot. Haven't seen a foot of snow since 2016. 2017, 2018. You didn't get a foot of snow. Really? Wow. 2021, you didn't get a foot of snow either. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. This is a good shot to do that. I think I'm getting increasingly confident for 10 to for a double digit snowfall there. So you'll have a good chance. I have the National Weather Service in my background. They still don't do as good as a job as my name is Brady. You can always call me too, but BWX in my humble opinion. And I thank you for that, Gots to be. I thank you for that. That's my goal. It's really frustrating how much it's not just TV. It's I see it all the time on the National Weather Service. How much they rely on model guidance now. Like you guys do know, like the snowfall maps that come from the National Weather Service. Those are model blends, and I think it's a useful tool. I wish they would put the model blends out there still for a tool, and but not use it for their explicit. I wish they would just make their own forecast. They don't make any of their snow maps or the rain. They use it off of the stuff like that. And it's a shame because there's so many brilliant, I mean, smart, brilliant people that work across just meteorologists in general, not just the National Weather Service. National Weather Service jobs, I know some people give them a lot of flack, but it's a really tough job to do. It's a government job. It's not great pay, and you got to come motivated to work to help save lives potentially every day with warnings. It's a very important job. You have a great night as well, NC player. We did in 2018, but I was traveling that week. Okay, I was gonna say there's no shot. So, but you haven't personally seen it. You haven't personally seen it. So, okay. So yeah, you have a good shot here. Central PA, I think, is in a pretty good spot. Let's see. I don't want to. Is there anything further? I want to be cautious. But even the GFS ensemble, look at that. The northern extent and the ratios are going to be so good up here. Yeah, I can't dismiss it. I can't dismiss it. By the way, the minute I see fives right now, the minute I see 5 inches, I'm going double digits. That's what I see right now on 10 to 1. Sure, NC player. Thanks. You're welcome. 19 Shiflet. Shiflet. If you want to, if it's a steak. Okay. Um, now we gotta put. Now we gotta do the. We did the hard part. You think there will be a lot of Virga? I don't think so. I think you'll get some in the beginning, and then once you saturate, you're off from there. Whoa. I'm back. Hit this. You don't back to me. Don't. 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 Man, I wish I could play copyrighted music and YouTube would not care. It would be so. I used to do it, and then now that I have a chance to actually make even just a little bit of money, I can't risk that. 122. This is made 122. This is for 124 to, we'll call it 127. And the beautiful part about this storm, guys, is you can go back 2 weeks ago, over 2 weeks ago, and we were mentioning this. We were mentioning this storm signal. You can go back to my channel, go back to, I'm so glad you came here too, gots to be, very glad. But you go back to my videos, and then go to, you could maybe go back to the 11:45 storm update, or winter is hitting a refresh button. I know the winter is hitting a refresh button. We did there. And we talked about it. The Bering Strait connection up by Alaska. And we talked about it. Oh, also I forgot to mention, if you don't mind hitting the like if you're in here as well, there's channel memberships available if you want to show extra support. And there's also super chats. We've now, for the last month, we've got super chats now available. We've hit the first level of monetization. If we keep getting more and more watch hours, then YouTube will actually start paying me per video. So I will actually be able to get some money off of that. That's not what drives my forecasting though. You guys look at my thumbnails, right? It's never out of proportion, right? I need to draw something. I need to draw the viewer in a little bit. That's just common knowledge though. But my thumbnails are never over the top like you see some people. Some people go way over the top with the thumbnails. There's a reason. I keep it in check. I could easily clickbait all of you, and I could overhype, and I could do that, and I would get so many more views, so many more. It would be so easy for me to do that. But I'm keeping my morals straight, and I know over time that will develop. It will develop a strong base of people that will hopefully enjoy this channel, and we can keep growing from there. Because I'd rather have a bunch of people that really enjoy what they're seeing than have an insane amount of people, but it'd be all like, just fake and not understanding. And like, I don't want that. I want people to come into this channel and feel, that, you're valued here. So, but I appreciate everybody that, that comes in here. A super chat. Very awesome. Watertown, MADPW worker here. Best analytical content out there. You got me hooked. I got to ask, am I going to be plowing a lot? Yeah. If you wanted to make some extra money, you should have came to Central Mass tonight, my man. You would have made some money. We got good snow here. So we got something. And listen, let me just say here, I didn't. So I appreciate it so much, X Black Chief. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really does mean a lot. It really does mean a lot here. Because eventually, if we make enough money, we could eventually be able to keep throwing this back into the channel, so we can make it even better experience for you all. Eventually, not have to stream off a Mac. And again, it was just a storm signal. So I said, I went back 2 weeks ago. I said, look for potential for a storm in the eastern U.S. That's what I was saying for about 2 weeks ago. That we're going into a favorable pattern here, and look for a storm that could produce as well as snow with this a couple weeks ago. That's what we were saying around this time frame. And I'm going to say it again. We have a Japan teleconnection to watch for a storm next week as well. And then we have first week of February. I think we have one there. And then I think we could even have another one second week of February potentially. We're in a loaded pattern here. This is winter, and yes, you're going to be plowing a lot. X Black Jeep. This is going to be a pretty good winter for you. It already has been okay. It's about to though take that next step. We're taking that next step. Okay, we're going from the snow events to the snowstorms now. This is back-to-back snowstorms here for New England. Just this one's going to be pretty solid. I mean, look at the span of. I'm thinking about it now, guys. I've snowed every single day in a row now since January 17th. January 17th, January 18th, January 19th, January 20th, January 21st, and now January 22nd, because I'm still snowing right now. Lightly, but still am. 5 consecutive days of accumulating snowfall I've had. John, you have a great night you have a great one as well. I'm in Springfield for a class, so I missed the clip system. That sucks. You could have made it. You came here. If you came here to Worcester County, you would have got some work for sure. Eventually, hopefully, here I can get a plow guy for free. Eventually, hopefully, in exchange for my forecasting, I can get somebody to come here and do the plow job. So I can it would save me a ton of shoveling that I would have to do. But maybe we'll get to that point eventually. I always keep asking. You do in Central Mass anytime. I get a bunch of plow people. So. Because it's their work, it's their livelihood, so it matters a lot to them. Yeah, I have a ton of people. I have a ton of plowing people that follow me. Actually, a ton. Uh, okay, let's keep adding to the map here. When do we start this? I think actually we started this about 2:45 a.m. Again, we've just been dragging this on for a little too long now. So I can leave that. I can leave the time there, but we got to change the date. One, is it? Yeah, it's 122. Glad to be a part of this new community. Looking forward to learning more. Thank you, Brady. Keep up the amazing work. For real. Good night, y'all. You have a good one too. Gots to be. I appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. Everybody that comes into these streams, it's truly. I wasn't expecting this. I had no subscribers and 0 followers on X about 7 years ago. Almost to date, about 7.5 years ago. No, it's 6.5. 6.5 years ago. Yeah. August 2019. I had 0 subscribers. I had 0 followers. So. And I tried to make it. I tried to do it the right way. I could easily have a lot more followers. I could have a lot. I could have a lot more money. I could easily. It would be so easy for me to do that. It's so easy to do that now on social media. But I don't want that. That's not how I want to do things. I know if I do it the right way for long enough, that will get rewarded more than what something like direct weather does. Not a shot, but it is. Reporting from Lubbock, Texas. I'm assuming Texas. Lubbock, Texas is going to be in an interesting spot for this. You could get snow. You could get a lot of ice. You could get snow again on the backside. That's going to be an interesting forecast there. Okay, let's. How big is this one? 273. Oh no, 273. Let's get it to 273. Why isn't it bigger? Oh, it's from here. There we go. Uh, Man, it's so fun to be able to do this. I'm telling you guys, it's so much fun to make a snow map, and that's why I love seeing young people do it. But uh, they're oftentimes not that accurate. A lot of times, I wasn't when I was younger too making these. I wasn't at all. I was actually still decent. I would make sure. I actually had some really good calls when I was a little bit younger. But the older we get, the better we get at this. So. Um, Doing it the right way is the only way. Not always. Have a good night, Gatsby. It's not always. Yo, dude, do your own thing. Don't ever be a sellout. It's not about being a seller or not. It's trying to do things through my perspective, how I see it. That's really it. Just trying to do it how I see fit, and that may not always be accurate, but just how I see fit. Do we need to we'll go 89? I'm betting Lubbock makes new all-time rare. Just wishing, anyways. From New Orleans have lived here 6.5 years. Were you there for the big snowstorm last year, where you got 1 to 2 inch per hour rates for like 5 hours straight? Were you there for that, Jude? I think you've been in here before, Jude, haven't you? I think I've seen you in here before, maybe last week or something. Then we can shrink this. You weren't there? Oh, that's a shame. Did you moved before that? So the year you moved to Lubbock, you the biggest snowstorm ever happened for New Orleans. Huge weather fanatic. Yeah, I'm probably sure hurricane season. You'll probably be more interested in my channel. But if you love winter weather too, it's fine, I guess. Well, actually, you're not from there anymore, so a little less. Hey, Lubbock is not as concerned about hurricane season as only for flood potential compared to Louisiana. I mean, there's rare cases of them going that far, but we moved to Lubbock July 2019. Yeah. Okay. So you had some time before that. I'm gonna make these a little bit bigger actually, because I want some writing on these. I know a lot of people just like to make it as simple as possible, but I want to provide some context. So I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. I would place the pink further north. It's just a feeling. Well, if I'm going to take a guess, I'm going to say that you live further north and you want me to put that there. Just if I had to take a guess. This is a threat map, like 4 days out almost for these areas here, by the way. It's like 3.5, 4 days out. We can refine there. If we need to move this a little, I would not, listen, if I had to move this like 40 miles, 50 miles north, I wouldn't be too mad about forecasting it. I got to go with what I think is going to happen, though. I think Lafayette or Lake Charles, our all-time snow record is 22. If you can believe that, that's impressive. That had to have been 1900s there, for sure. Oh, there's another plow and salt truck. We got to find a better way, though, to salt these roads. We can't keep going through the same the same cycle of wasting our tax money for you to use crappy salt so we can pay for your roads because you keep using crappy salt. We got to find a better solution. That's why the roads tear down. It's not just because of the cold weather. It's because of all the crappy salt that gets put on those roads. Anybody with that power is listening or knows people with that power. I would love to find a solution for that. Give me the beat, boy, and free my soul. I think that Maine gets a lot. I mean, look, I put it into Maine. I put the double. I put this into Maine. I'm just being cautious at this point. You got to be. I got to be careful. It's not that it not. Listen, this isn't my final snow map. This is a threat map 3 to 4 days out. You got to give me a little bit of leeway here. You got to give me a little bitty leeway. You got to look at the wording I'm saying too. I'm saying becoming increasingly likely, and I didn't spell that right. I'm using Adobe Photoshop 2023 right now. I have not updated. I don't want it. I just want it to work. I just need to make the map, and that's it. It's become listen, I don't think there's a ton of people who have pushed this far north on what I'm doing here. And this is as a result of not getting the heaviest snow. This is a result of ratios being so high. That's what it's going to be. But we need to make this even bigger, actually. This is not even big enough. I see you were in Gerald earlier tonight too. Yes, I was with Gerald earlier tonight. I'm so excited. Raleigh, North Carolina will get no snow or ice. Sarcasm. Obviously. Well, you're not being sarcastic about the snow, I can tell you that. That's unfortunate, but the ice. Sorry. Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. Thank you. Just wanted to know if I had access to those same tools that I signed up for premium. Yeah, I bought the Photoshop. I don't think I got the whole package. But it is expensive, and it's literally only for snow maps. So that will help. Double-digit snowfall, and I also want to throw in. You guys will like that part. I know that. Boom, 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 boom. Oh boy. Dun, 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 dun. What's the name? There we go. We get the dates right? Yep. We got the dates right. Nam was looking good at the end of the run there. That's a scary sentiment to use there. Celtic Supreme. No power. Yeah, your power, serious power. We discussed the ice potential earlier on stream, so if you did miss that, you can rewind to the super chat that was sent by the whatever something redneck. And that's not an insult. That's his name. I don't think rednecks is. I think it's a term of endearment in my opinion, but some people could take it, I guess, offensive if you decide to. Apparently, we want to take so much offense to everything now, even if it's not related to us. But I personally, I think it's a little easier to be a little bit looser on a lot of things, because then that way I don't have to put so much time and energy and stress into things that either aren't relevant to me, or even if they are, it's just I'm confident and trust who I am as a person. So, little side note, my personal stuff. How much ice will Rally get? Yeah, we discussed that earlier. Yeah, you can rewind, but I'll discuss it again. I would say becoming increasing likely for at least a quarter to a half inch of ice down there, and the potential for at least a half inch to an ice is absolutely there, and that would be crippling. That would be if widespread. That would be the power outage potential would be awful. And it's not that some places couldn't see more. You got to be conservative with the ice. Not on You don't want to be conservative against people in terms of how they prepare, but you just got to be careful of not over forecasting some numbers. But once you get to like a 3/4 of an inch and an inch, that's crippling, that ice potential. And a half inch of ice is usually enough for major impacts. We saw that earlier up here several weeks ago. We had some massive. I know I did. I had a quarter inch of ice, a little bit more than a quarter inch of ice a few weeks ago, and then we had another ice right after that as well, where we got 2/10 of an inch. I think that's a fair range, NC player. That's certainly within reason. Regardless, enough to cause significant travel disruptions, power outages, and stuff like that. I'm going to do this. And you kind of inspired me, whoever that was. Was it? No. The country, whatever the country channel, whatever your name is. You can take a little bit of credit. I have no idea who you are, but it inspired me to do that. I hope people read the map, though. That's what I care about. I'm going to make that slightly smaller. Can I bold this? It is bolded already. Can I change the font, or will that mess with it too much? I want to find a better. Oh, I kind of like that. But I don't know if it will show as well. No, it's too crazy. That's kind of good though too. Well, let's try it for a second. Let's see. I actually kind of like that. I kind of like that. Let's try that again. Was it that one? No, that one right there. I kind of like that. Huh? Oh, okay. Um, Preston Tug. Will Virginia get mostly ice or mostly snow? Well, Virginia is a big state, so you gotta help me a little bit. Let me help you help me, or let me let you help you. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I like that font. I wish I could highlight it a little bit. I wonder if the white will show it better. That's a little tough. That's a little tough on the eyes there. Let's see. I kind of want to highlight the text so it's a little easier to read. Northern Virginia. Um, Again, I'm sorry. I'm going to ask just a little bit more. Like, give me? Are you north or south of DC? That's the easiest. I guess that's the easiest thing that can help me. Um, like Arlington, like you north of Arlington, you north of DC, are you at the same latitude as DC, just further west? Are you west of DC? Um, I'm assuming you're west of DC if you're in Northern Virginia, or you may not be. But trying to see if I can. Well, let's do the whole map. We're not trying to do that now. We can take that layer off. I'm trying to get to the text. Um, that's a good point. If you need to, you can try Amazon too. Amazon Prime. If all your stores are sold out of stuff you need, you can probably. I'm sure if you have Amazon Prime, they'll get your stuff within a day or two or something. Oh, super chat. X Black Jeep. Who's my favorite on-air meteorologist? Oh, Harvey Leonard. I think. Oh, Cantori too. Probably Cantori and Harvey. I'll give you my local TV ones. Harvey Leonard was my favorite, and I know Harvey. I've did we texted back and forth over the years. I got to know him a little bit. It was super cool. He took the time, to meet me when I was a lot younger. And we've kept in touch. Actually, not the past couple of years, but we kept in touch for a while. I mentioned it few last week that I would make sure try to text him happy birthday every year when it was. And then let's see, Jim Cantori is great on the Weather Channel. Love Tom Nizzle. Mike Seidel is really good. The broadcasting factor. Loved Carl Parker. Um, those are some of the ones that stand out for like best analysis and best TV as well. Um, yeah. And then I don't want to creep into the Storm Chasers as well, but I have a lot of good. I like a lot of storm chasers as well. So thank you so much for the super chat, X Black Jeep X. Let's. What does this do? Oh, that spaces it more. I kind of like that. Yeah, but not that much. Good, and then watch this. Watch this. That should help. Mm, okay. I think that's. I mean, you can. That's pretty readable text there. It's a little bright. It's a little. It's a little on the eyes, but that's rather readable. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna save as. Make a copy. Figure out stuff on live stream. Yeah, I'm trying. I don't got anything to hide here. I'm not an expert on this stuff. Are you kidding me? Anytime you're making another threat map 6 days apart from each other, it's usually a sign you're in a good pattern. Snowfall threat map. Save that. Best way to learn with friends. We're all hanging. We can review that. He is retired. Tom Nissel's actually, he did some stuff last winter. Mine was Tom Skilling from WG, and I've heard that name before, X Black Jeep. Talking Legends over here, yeah. He asked me my favorite. Those are my favorites. You know another sneaky one too on the Weather Channel? Paul Goodlow. I feel like he was always very clear with his messaging, good voice for broadcasts as well. Was another good one. Oh, another good one too. Oh, Sam Champion was pretty good on the Weather Channel as well. I mean, that crew back in the day, man, they had a legendary crew. Back in the 2010s, man, there was a legendary crew there. Back in the 80s and 90s was a little bit more before my time with the Weather Channel, but they were really good back then too. But boy, did they have some good. Okay, so this is going to save this time, right? I'm not going to have to screenshot this. Okay. That noise used to be NBC Plus. Yeah, I didn't ever really watch stuff as much, but I know he started his own thing, like 1 Degree Outside or something, with I think his wife both started something. So if you're just joining here, what we're doing is we made our threat map. Oh, Pete. Oh yeah, I like Pete. Pete too. Pete is one of the local TV mets right now. who is usually going to be first to something before the other stations do. I think Pete plays a big role in that. So I'll give him credit here. And it's a shame. We have so many really good minds. We have great meteorologists. Um, we have so many great meteorologists in our area. It's just the maps that get put out are very frustrating sometimes. Um, in the forecasting messaging, because I wish they would rely on their minds more, not the models, and not have a cop out. Again, if you're just joining us, there's new people filter in and out. New people filter in and out, so that's why I like to mention it. Especially when I see the viewer count go up and down a lot in a short time, that usually means we got new people filtering in and out. I'm just showing you that we made a threat map. Again, we forecast for a lot of the eastern United States, but this is where we specialize here. So why would I make a snow map for areas I don't specialize in? That's not fair to the people that live there for me to make a forecast and expect me. It's also not fair to me to expect myself to be as accurate as I can be when I don't know those areas as well. So yeah. So we made the threat map. Now I'm going to post it to YouTube, and I'm going to post it to X after as well. And X is the place where they'll go off and run with it. I know X people. They did last time. Listen, when I post the snow maps, it reminds me how many people actually follow me and see my stuff, because people go crazy with the snow maps every single time. Every single time, those snow maps, they get like 10 to 20,000 views every single time, even if it's not a massive event. Like the last one, like you get like Boston radio. Apparently, I had to have my family tell me that Boston Radio Watch. A friend's dad tell me, tell my family that Boston Radio Watch. Retweet. And for me, that's not that important. Like Boston, it's not like I'm just, but like for them, that's they see big accounts and it's more important for them. For me, I could give two craps on what, unless it's like Mike Trout. I love Mike Trout. Mike Trout and I got to go back and forth a little bit with each other on direct message back in 2022. I was like his own little personal weather forecaster, giving him insight. It was really cool. And I only mentioned that direct because he was extremely nice and so genuinely passionate about the snow as well. And Mike follows, but he does follow me, which is amazing. But he follows a bunch of Northeast Mid Atlantic weather people, so he loves the weather. So that is my coolest follow by far. It's massive. I mean, love watching him. Well, I just loving him play baseball, let alone the weather aspect. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, I know. You imagine? I would love get a little buyout from the Angels, Celtics Supreme, have him in a Sox uniform for his farewell. He's still got a lot of juice left in the tank. I'm telling you, he can still do damage. It won't happen. I'm sure with his contract. I shouldn't speak for him, but I'm sure he wants to. He's really loyal to the Angels, so I respect that. But posting this threat map here. Snow threat map. You know what I'm going to get on this map? Is there's going to be a ton of people going, what about DC? What do you think about DC? What do you think about DC? What do you think about DC? I'm going to tell you the same stuff. You really think the map is going to so drastically? You're either going to be in here or here with the map looking like this. That's what I'll tell you in DC. You make your own threat maps, well, that's cool. You got everybody, the maps you make, you can learn from. So no matter if you're a TV meteorologist or if you're just, your own little weather enthusiast doing your own little thing. is pretty solid. Owner won't pay top dog. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me, Bobby. Don't even get me started on Red Sox ownership right now. Don't even get me started. I would say it to his face. I would say it to his face. So I'm anything that I wouldn't say to somebody's face, I try not to say it here on stream. Most of the time, I try to be always cognizant of that. You never know who's watching. You never know what could happen. You never know. So I always try to be cognizant of that. But I always try to keep it real too at the same time. But boy, I would say it to his face right now. I would ask, why do you not pay our guys? I would literally, I would say that to his face. Like, what is your style of ownership? And it's only because I love the Red Sox so much. Him in a Sox uniform at center field. Don't get me going. Still very surprised sign rank. Yeah, I love that one infielder away now. Celtic Supreme. My threat also includes oh boy, NC player. I'm not going to tap into that right there. That's for sure. Okay. I think that looks good enough. Can't spell apparently. Whatever, we'll just let it autocorrect. It's not that I can't spell, I'm just like trying to type too fast. Okay. Let's do that. Then and now we're just posting our threat map to X here. Thunder snow lights up in Buffalo. Fierce thunder snow storm. Always seems like around this time frame. Always seems like we get a major one. The 20th to the 30th, climatologically speaking. Just tag NWS Boston. Hey, this is what you want to use right here. Okay. Here you go, psychos. I forgot to pin my stream as well. Okay, I'll show you. We can look at the NAM, and then we'll measure, shovel, and I tried to put up weather belt and NAM in the same. That's how fried my brain is right now. Right. Yep, NAM pulls it in. The NAM is gonna. What is the NAM? What is on? What is the NAM on? The NAM is trying to dump on Chicago. That's how far north that thing goes. I mean, I guess it's not that far off from these guidance, but boy, does it show that warm nose getting pretty far. But the NAM's going to over amplify at this range. But you know what I love about what the NAM does? See all those oranges? Sleet. That'd be sleet instead of freezing rain. But sleet to freezing rain in some places. But I think the warm tongue, I think it's underestimating how strong that warm air aloft could be. It's not underestimating the extent to it, but how strong it will be for these areas here. It could be a thin line between sleet and ice. And hey, if you get sleet in North Carolina, and if you're lucky enough to get sleet, then guess what? You're gonna be able to measure that as snowfall, and it'll be much less damaging. But I wouldn't lean towards that much sleet at this time. Has Hurricane Hunter's information? Yeah, that they did go into the 0Z model runs. Some of the Hurricane Hunter. Well, that is good for you that you posted your threat map there. Giro or Jaguar weather. Sean has the information. Yes, Sean Stout. Or Sean's tout, I don't know. But yeah, that information was pulled into some of the 0Z guidance. Bring up the dictionary again? No, cannot. News said you should get at least 2 inches of snow. Well, a lot of times the news forecasts, I hate to say it, go off model guidance, and instead of using their guts. Let's see how the NAM differed from last run, though. The NAM pulls in the Baja low a little bit earlier. That's the difference I see. But I don't know how the preset map compares to the last run. Do you see that? Gets the Baja low out further out there. And then look. That's the difference there. See how the high pressure moves? It moves as a result of the upper levels. NC player, remember, do not go after other people. We gotta play nice. Always play nice. We gotta play nice. It's a random person we don't know yet. Remember that. Pittsburgh, PA, getting over a foot. That's certainly a possibility. That's certainly a possibility. Well, it looks like uh, uh, what looks like a long couple days of plowing for me. It very well might be. Again, it's going to be a lot of money in your pocket, though, Rich. Probably, if I had to guess. Um, NC player, come on, we gotta play nice. We know it's. I know you're not trying to, but you have to remember this is someone you've never met before, and then they're going to take things differently. But so just know that for going forward. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. We'll live stream tomorrow night, almost certainly again. We'll probably collab with Gerald again. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Um, I understand, but how you phrase things sometimes, other people that haven't met you, it can be hard for them to understand your perspective. That's it. Just keep that in mind. I'm not sure what any of you is what you're all saying now, but I'm going to call it a stream. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Well, again, if you like the stream tonight, or be sure to like the stream also. If you did enjoy the stream, though, we're going to keep doing this going forward here with this storm, and you can check the community tab and in videos and lives to see turn on the notifications too. So.